My wife is lying about her age because she's afraid of losing me. When my wife's 33 female family was visiting earlier, we were talking about how long we would wait until we have our next child. I, 28 male, asked my mother-in-law how long she waited between having children, and she said 4 years. My wife corrected her and said, no, 6 years, which I could see my mother-in-law reacted oddly to. Reason being, my brother-in-law is 37, and so if he's 4 years older than my wife, that would make her 33. After seeing this exchange, my heart sank because I knew in my gut that my wife had been lying to me about her age. This is because this event marked the third time in 2 months that I had encountered information that suggested my wife has been misrepresenting her age. First time was in the hospital when my wife was going into labor 2 months ago. On the display of the medical device, it listed her birth year as 1990, and I pointed out to the nurse that the date was incorrect. They said they would need proof in order to change that date, so my wife showed them her old ID with her maiden name, and the nursing staff was able to make the change. I thought it was weird that the system would have the wrong date, but my wife said her old ID had a clerical error, and that was the one that she had registered with the hospital. As I understand it, these errors are rare and can only be corrected by showing 2 copies of your identification. In this case, passport and birth certificate. For some reason, this stuck with me in my head, and I started questioning myself on the subject. But ultimately, I decided to believe my wife. After all, I'd seen her ID before, and it had said 1992. And we filed for our marriage license with that date without issue. The second time was about a month ago when my mother-in-law was visiting and talking about when my wife was a baby. Since I was already having questions about my wife's birthday, I asked her, "And what year was this?" To which she replied 1990. I asked her if she meant 1992, and she said, "Oh, yes." At this point, I was on high alert that something was up. And I mentioned to my wife after the family had left that it was silly of her mom to forget what year she was born. My wife responded that she didn't know what I was talking about and that she didn't think her mom would have said that. I told her that I definitely heard her mom say that, but she told me that I must have misheard her or her mom made a mistake. At this point, I went through my wife's closest friends' Instagram profiles and saw that the majority of them were in their mid-30s, not early 30s. Being overwhelmed by what I was seeing, I convinced myself that I was probably overthinking this whole situation and that the clerical error, her mom forgetting her birth year, and her being the youngest of all of her friends by a bit were unlikely coincidences, but not impossible. I stopped short of going through my wife's belongings, as that would be a massive invasion of privacy, and she would certainly be aware as she is on maternity leave at home. That leads us back to the present and the family discussion about her brother's age gap. Of course, I brought this up with the thought of entertaining my suspicions, but seeing my mother-in-law's reaction to my wife's correction told me everything I needed to know. This was the third insinuation that my wife was born in 1990, and at this point, I couldn't deny it any longer. I excused myself for a bathroom break, and her family left shortly after I returned downstairs. We cleaned a bit and got the baby changed, and when my wife sat down, I said that something was bothering me, and we needed to talk. I explained to her that 3 times over the last couple months, there's been insinuations that she is 33 years old. She responded that it's because she is. After some silence, I asked my wife to explain herself, and she said that this all traces back to when she got her driver's license in 2018. A clerical error indeed had been made, but one that printed her birth year as 1992, instead of the one on her birth certificate, which is 1990. As a result, she started getting jobs with that identification, and for reasons that remain unclear, decided to use that age on her dating profile before we met. At the time, I was 23 and was only looking for matches between the ages of 20 and 26, so I distinctly remember her profile having that age setting, something which she still denies intentionally doing. On our first date, I even remember looking at her license since we got cocktails at dinner, and sure enough, her birth year indicated that she was 26. Okay, so she's 24. I asked her why she would lie about her real age, and she said that she never knew our relationship would get this serious. The longer time went on, the bigger this lie became. She said that she's wanted to come clean about it for a long time, but she was afraid early on in our relationship that I would have left her if I knew she was 5 years older than me. 5 years my senior. To be fair, she may be right. Really?
Because Opie said at the time...
Folks,
Yeah.
can we... I just want to put you all on game real quick.
Go ahead.
Numbers matter in a legal sense, and a you know, there is a point where it's like, what are we doing? But
Close there. You were close there.
when things just make sense, if someone's 35 and you're 30, but you're like, oh, they're 5 years older than me. Does it feel like it makes sense? Does it feel right in your chest? It doesn't matter. If it's 25 years, then it's like, okay, I got to think about like end of life care. It's like, what is our, then you're thinking, all right, if you're 25 years older than me, when you become old, I'm going to have to take care of you. Like, what is this going to look like? Like, sure.
Yeah.
5 years, 30 to 35, tangibly zero difference. She even tried feeling me out at that time, asking questions like, what would you do if I were older than I am? I had answered basically that we probably wouldn't be dating in that case. For fear of losing me, she let this lie fester, and she said that this lie was in the back of her head during every major milestone we shared together. When I asked her to be my girlfriend, when I asked her to move in with me, when I asked her to marry me, when we got pregnant with our baby, when we got married, when we welcomed our baby into the world. Unknown to me, my wife had an inner conflict that our relationship had been built on a lie, and each time one of those milestones passed, she chose to keep up the act instead of coming clean. She says now that she feels much better for having finally come clean, but now we're so far down the road, I don't know what to do. I don't quite know how I would have reacted in the past to this discovery, and that was before we got married and had a kid together. She is my love and my best friend, but I can't shake the feeling that our relationship was built on a lie. I'm also wondering what else my wife is capable of lying about if she could keep something as foundational as how old she is a secret for so long. In fact, all of her new documentation, like a license and passport, has her correct birth year on it now, since she changed her name, so it was only a matter of time before I found out. My wife said that she recognized this and was getting ready to write me a letter on the subject. She even showed me her draft of this letter in her phone, dated back a month ago after the second event I mentioned earlier. Apparently, her mom had mentioned to her at the time that she needed to get that date corrected, and today reinforced the point that she needed to say something to me after the third event. Mother-in-law encouraged her to be positive about the situation and that she's still the same person, regardless of her age. Mother-in-law is right about this part. I do love my wife as a partner and a mother, but I'm struggling with the notion that we would have never met if my wife didn't lie about her age, and probably would not have continued our relationship had I found out earlier. Now we have a great family life, but it all started and was perpetuated by a lie. Shelby Cobra, you're literally living in a perfect relationship and marriage, from the sounds of it, until you're like, oh, my wife's 2 years older. And she was going to tell you. She wasn't going to keep hiding it. That's the other thing.
But
she was going to tell you. She had a letter.
That helps.
if she's willing to lie to the government, she's willing to lie to you.
I always lie to the government.
I can't trust you anymore.
The government's not your friend.
You don't know that.
Entertainment. That wasn't legal advice. Don't lie to the IRS. Now we have a great family life, but it all started and was perpetuated by a lie. I have no idea how we're going to talk about this with my family or our friends, as this could seriously impact how they see her. My wife and I both grew up in broken homes, and neither of us want to impose that on our children. Part of the reason why my wife claims she didn't tell me the truth is she was convinced that I would walk out on her and get a divorce, which is true based on everything you said to her. I haven't done that and am instead looking for recommendations on how to navigate this situation. How would you recommend we broach this topic with our friends and family? Be funny. How can I rebuild my trust in my wife? How can I handle my feelings of betrayal? Therapy. And by the way, we would never betray you by telling you there isn't a huge archive full of episodes with stories just like this, which you can find on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Music and Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find it. Just search the name of our show. Okay, Storytime.
That's incredible.
I would never lie about that.
Over 2,500 episodes, and that's not a lie.
Over
Except
60
it might be. But
65 days.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of story left. There's a final update here. John, I want to know, should they stay or should they go?
I think we've wiggled our way down to the same area, which is like, I think, it is a lie. She wrote the letter, but also when he asked her, she didn't admit. However, I think this is probably solvable with therapy and working through it and rebuilding that trust and getting also even more of an understanding. Like, we know kind of the surface level of why she did it, but I think it would be nice to like dive deep with her on that. And I think the trust is rebuildable, and it seems from all that we know that they have a great relationship and great life, and they should, at the barest of minimums, try. They should try to try and build a relationship to keep going.
Maybe Maybe I'm just a funny guy, huh? Maybe I'm just a funny, unbothered guy, huh?
My take is,
But I gotta say,
don't lie about your age and being expired milk. You're better than that.
I just think
What?
a different lie would be way more concerning. But this is like, first of all, it did come from a clerical error, which is like great. It's like you're being handed the lottery. Oh my God, the government just gave me 2 free years off of my life. I get to be 2 years younger, according to the government.
You still shouldn't lie about it.
I'm gonna lean into that. You know, it's again
Just because people do lie about it, I don't think it's good that people do. But I think their relationship, their context, I think it's okay. I think they can work through it, I should say.
Yeah, it's not like it was, and again, it's not like it's like, I'm going to lie so that I can take something from him. It's like, well, I'm going to perpetuate this lie so we can continue to have this beautiful relationship and this wonderful family, and he won't just arbitrarily divorce me because I'm like an old, dusty sack. Here's the update.
Here we go.
I want to thank you all for the feedback, good or bad. One thing I want to emphasize is that I don't care that my wife is 5 years older than me. Okay, sure. There was a time where this would have been an issue for me, but we're well past that. The issue for me is and has been the continued lies and actions to support a mistake that was made a long time ago. I also spoke to my wife again today after gathering my thoughts and considering the advice that's been shared here. I told her that I love her, that I have no interest in divorcing, and that I want to be a husband to her and a father to our child. But I also expressed again how hurt I was by her lying to me, and that we were going to have to work together to reach a point where I can trust her. This will take time, but I'm sure we can do it, barring any setbacks. I'm so annoyed, but I'm just going to keep going. We agreed to meet with a counselor weekly until we feel comfortable and are working this week to resolve our documents that have her errant date of birth. We also have no plans on discussing this matter with friends or family unless there is reason to. The one thing we won't do is be deceitful. And that is the end of that story.
There it is.
I tried to surprise my wife, but it nearly ended our marriage.
Surprises are tricky.
Ain't that right? I'll admit it, I haven't been the most attentive husband lately. My wife has told me I need to make more of an effort in our relationship or we would have problems. I've tried really hard to invest in our relationship ever since finding out my wife is not feeling as happy as she should be. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Keon. And obviously we have a guest today. Today's guest is a man who proves comedy and carbs truly belong together. He's a comedian, best-selling author, podcast host, and avid bread maker, now teaming up with Nambe for his brand new Breaking Bread collection, which launched on October 1st. Inspired by his love of baking, especially sourdough, which I'm going to look into that. The collection includes everything from elegant measuring spoons and canisters to knives, utensils, and premium cutting board. Perfect for bakers and entertainers alike. You know him from his hit podcast Breaking Bread with Tom Papa, where he shares food and laughs with guests like Matt Damon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Ali Wong. Or from What a Joke with Papa and Fortune on SiriusXM. He's released 6 stand-up specials, including his latest Netflix special, Home Free, and is currently on his Grateful Bread tour. You've seen him on The Today Show, GMA3, Colbert, and Conan, and now he's here with us. Please welcome Tom Papa.
Finally made it.
That's right.
I finally made the big time.
Yeah, you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming. Like, you drove like 4 hours today, I heard.
Yeah, it's going to be about 10 going home.
It will be. But just a reminder, we are here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. Mr. Tom Papa does have more than I do. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments down below. So, OP continues. This F-up happened last week. My wife's birthday was coming up. I decided to go big. My wife absolutely loves surprises, so I decided to surprise her with a romantic night and lots of flowers and presents. She had to go to work early in the morning of her birthday, and I had the day off.
Oh,
I had time to plan everything out.
all right.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking, dinner, wine, roses.
Yeah, he's already off to a great start. He's thinking. He's got
thinking.
it. He's got the time. He's made the time.
Uh-huh.
And it's his sole focus is to make his wife happy.
Yeah.
This guy sounds fantastic. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, he continues, I decided, being the idiot I am, to pretend that I had forgotten my wife's birthday just to make the surprise, well, even more of a surprise.
What?
I have no idea what it is today.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
The plan was as follow. My wife wakes up, and I don't mention her birthday. She thinks I've forgotten. She goes to work, and I get everything ready. She comes home in the evening after work, and ta-da!
Uh-huh.
She will open the door, and I'll be waiting with her with gifts, flowers, dinner, and everything romantic I could think of. Sounds like an amazing plan, right?
Yeah, so far.
So far.
I'm not completely in.
Yeah.
There's a couple flaws.
I think, like, oh, happy birthday.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. That's sending her off to be angry on the commute.
Did you cook a breakfast?
Like nothing. Like it's
Yeah.
a little weird.
Big
but
risk.
high risk.
Yeah, exactly.
High reward.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing special happened in the morning, and my wife left for work while I slept in. During the day, I got everything ready, and apart from mildly messing up the dessert, everything went great. When it was time to wait for my wife to return, she was supposed to get home after 4 p.m., 4:30, nothing, 5 p.m., still nothing.
Uh-oh.
I was starting to get worried, and I texted her where she was.
Mm-hmm.
Around 5:30, she read my message, but didn't reply.
Sounds like an affair, but go ahead.
He gets it. He gets it. It's a coin toss at this point. Like,
Yeah.
who really knows?
High risk.
I was starting to get extremely worried and texted her if she was okay. That's when she replied. She texted me opening up about how she couldn't believe I had forgotten her birthday, even after her expressing to me how she had felt neglected in the relationship and wanting me to put in more effort. Oh, I forgot about that. He's kind of already in the doghouse.
Yeah, but he's still got the plan.
Okay, yeah, he can still come back.
But this is what you and I were suspicious of early on, was you send her off angry, and you're right, he was in the doghouse. So it just affirms what she's not going to 100% trust. I don't know where this is going, but she's not 100%. It was just she comes back and there's a bunch of stuff. She's not 100% going to believe that he didn't just pull it out last minute. You know what I mean?
Love bombing kind of thing.
Yeah, like he's kind of to your point. He was already in a hole,
And this could
now
maybe
he
get
dug it deeper. So
Yeah.
he's very confident with himself. I love his confidence.
I, in all my stupidity, still decided to play dumb to make my big surprise work. I told her to just get home so we could talk about it. Big mistake. She told me she was done talking and started mentioning divorce.
Come on. Do you think where do you think she's texting this from?
Low key, I'm thinking she got off work, went to a bar because she's kind of sad, or went, I don't know, wherever her third place is.
Uh-huh.
And then just started like,
Ooh.
Yeah, but what's her third place?
Yeah, third place. Yeah, what's his name? Third place.
oh man. That's when I called her and she still wouldn't answer. Then I panicked and started explaining everything to her by text. I took pictures of all the things I had done around the house. The gifts, flowers, the decorations, the dinner, everything. I wanted to surprise her. That's all I wanted. I tried calling her, but no avail. She read my messages, and after not getting a reply, I just broke down and started crying.
Oh, boy.
Dang.
You should cry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how big a hole do you think he was in before all of this for this to be at this level? It sounds like...
It would have to be like not really communicating.
Yeah.
Or what are some other common...
At the beginning, she was asking for surprise. She wanted more spontaneous, or she wanted attention.
Ooh, I think attention, because I think she may have
Attention.
said like, I love surprises early on in the relationship.
Right.
And without like really connecting the dots.
Right. She
He's
wanted
worried.
attention. The problem with dudes is you think whatever you're thinking in your head is happening in the real world.
Which head are you thinking with?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, how old is he?
We got a number. I'm thinking like mid 30s, maybe early 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think the brain would have developed. by
Yeah,
now.
right, exactly. Yeah, he should have, all heads should be aligned at this point.
Don't have ages.
No ages?
No ages, unfortunately.
No age.
I'm
All
just
right.
assuming
I'm
32.
assuming. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
He sounds younger, though, but he's, right?
It's a young man at heart. After what felt like the longest wait of my life, my wife comes home. She starts crying and saying she's sorry.
Wow.
I told her it was my fault.
Wow.
We both just started crying and holding each other.
Aw.
I was not expecting this. Did you see this coming?
I didn't see a happy ending coming. Is there more to it?
Yeah, there's a lot
All
more.
right.
Yeah.
good. So it could definitely fall apart.
We're like maybe halfway through.
I don't like the crying. Both of them crying. I have a feeling she's crying for a different reason though. I'm suspicious.
Oh yeah, because of the things she mentioned before.
Yeah, and the third stop. I know we made that part up, but I'm sticking to it. I feel like I don't know why, but I'm sensing there's some guilt in her cry.
Yeah, I do too. We spent the night crying and cuddling and eating the dinner I made. She told me it was the best thing she had ever eaten. Obviously a lie.
I wish I knew what it was.
Ooh.
He doesn't say.
It probably was pasta. It's probably spaghetti, dude. Like, come on.
Just the dumb dude idea of fancy.
Yeah.
Pasta.
Oh, man. Don't tell my friend that, because every time he sees me, he'll make me spaghetti. I'm like, oh, this is so good, man. Thanks.
With sauce or
Oh yeah.
yeah,
He's not crazy.
jarred sauce.
Yeah.
And how long you two been together?
About 2 years. Yeah, me and him. Yeah.
That's good.
It was mediocre at best and already cold.
Mm.
It wasn't the surprise I had hoped to give her. I'm
Aw.
just glad to still be married to her. And yes, we're working to fix our relationship. I love this woman with all my heart. I had her permission to share this. We got a little edit. How we feeling? Did he get out of the doghouse?
It sounds like they obviously love each other.
Yes.
I'm gonna take back that she was crying guilty tears. Not completely though. I don't think she was doing something horrible. Our director friend over there assumed that she was really banging in the third place.
Hey, over here, it's some crazy stuff.
Right. But I do think that she was probably texting, like talking to somebody else, like
Ooh.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the worst. I don't like him.
A little bit of emotional cheating, perhaps.
Yeah. Right, emotional cheating. Like just kind of, which, you know, we don't know how long they've been together. We don't know if it's warranted. We don't know how
We also
bad
don't
he's
know her
been.
profession.
What do you mean? Oh, right.
Certain professions are more likely to cheat, according to the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
There's
if you're a certain kind of a dancer.
a damn.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, like there's a statistic out there that nurses are most likely to cheat on their partners
Nurses?
out of all the professions.
Really? Because they're so caring? They just can't stop loving?
That, or I'm thinking like, imagine working 12 hours and it's like the worst 12 hours, and you got your friend right beside of you,
Yeah.
and over time you just kind of create a bond.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah. And then flight attendants, I think, or pilots are the second thing.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
That's in a lot of movies and stuff.
yeah.
Because everyone's on the move, and also you're in the sky, and you're almost, you feel like you're almost dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're about to die. Like everybody's acting all cool on the plane.
Yeah.
But everybody is legit like, oh no, this might be it. Right? But they're quietly just eating snacks and
Really? Do you feel that way?
yeah.
What?
Don't you?
I'm kind of comfortable on planes.
I mean, I'm comfortable, but I'm highly aware that we could die at any second.
What about whenever you're in a car?
Nah.
What?
I feel
Wait, what?
nah. Plane crash,
Okay.
car crash. Which one you surviving?
Yeah, more likely a car crash.
I think there's a lot of leeway in the car crash.
But you're also more likely to get in one.
yes, the odds are greater, but if you are in one, how many people have you met that were like,
Yeah,
I was just in a plane crash last week?
not many.
Not many. But a lot of people are like, I got an Uber and I crashed my car last week.
Well, we have a little bit left of this story. We're about halfway here. There's still an affair partner that could come up.
So we don't know her job.
We don't know her job, so.
But they seem solid. I feel like they're a young couple because they're taking big swings and doing things they think they're supposed to do.
They also didn't mention kids. So
Right.
they are, I think, younger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or smart.
Okay, so edit for all of the concerned people. Yes, we're getting help in fixing things like I have stated before. I appreciate the concern, but with all due respect, I'm going to take relationship advice from professionals and not from Reddit. Come on, man. We have great relationship advice.
Are they saying that we're the professionals or we're the Reddit?
We're the Reddit.
No.
I know.
Can't we be both?
That's what I'm saying.
We've lived.
We have.
You have your pasta friend.
Yeah. And you got
I've been married for 25 years.
boom.
Bam.
We can conquer the world right there.
Come on now.
We're basically therapists.
And we love Whitney.
Yes. It's weird to have people arguing about my relationship when frankly no one knows us or the situation we're in. I just wanted to share this story on here with my wife since we've already talked this issue through. Still, reading your personal experiences and what you have gone through is helpful, so please
It is.
do share if you feel like doing so. And the people messaging me calling my wife horrible things,
What?
I sincerely want to say to you, F off.
Yeah, I like, yeah, it's so funny he's got to anticipate that people are going to say horrible things. I find both of them adorable.
Yeah.
My one thing, are we in the suggesting thing?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
The better she started off asking for attention and surprises and all the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
And then he trying to make up for it because he cares about her. He took a big swing with a beginning of a really dumb plan.
Yeah, not very calculated swing.
Yeah, just like I'm going to let her just go off for 8 hours thinking that I forgot.
That I don't love her.
Right. And I slept in. I didn't even get out of bed. I just
Dude,
stayed in bed
come on.
and didn't even like yell it from the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was dumb. But the problem is he set himself up because just do small things. Little surprises along the way. Then you don't have to go really all out and come and like really swing for the fences.
What's Keon? It's called the Kaizen thing, right? Is that what it is?
That was the bad guy in Dunkirk?
No. It's this like Japanese like wisdom thing that you always want to be 1% better every day.
Ooh.
So like you said, the small things.
Right.
If you're just doing, you don't have to do the big.
That's right. Exactly. Just leave a little note on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up the stuff she left on the floor in the bathroom.
What's the last small thing you did for your wife?
Oh, I made her toast off of the bread that I baked.
All right.
And normally I bake the bread all the time and I leave it out and there's fresh baked bread. So you can't really say that that's like a move anymore.
Yeah.
But going the extra step of cutting it, toasting it, buttering it up, giving her leaving on the counter. That's a small thing. It's not a huge thing. I don't even need a thank you.
Yeah.
I don't even need a thank you. That's how special I am.
Boom.
But it counts.
Okay, we got a second update here. I'm getting so many comments about this, I've decided to address it here. Like some have said, I wasn't really thinking about her when I did what I was doing. I made the whole surprise essentially about myself, even though I didn't mean to. It was never my intention to make her feel bad, even though I now realize that, of course, she would feel horrible for the whole day after I pretended not to remember her birthday.
Is this the same guy?
Same guy.
Oh.
So people are calling him out. You made this all about yourself, not about her.
Oh, people are calling him out in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. And it was too big of a leap. He had all these little things. He was doing all the right stuff. He's just not that practiced at it.
Yeah.
He's obviously a guy who doesn't really. Don't you get in relationships sometimes and you're like, we're together. How much more do you need? Like, we're on lock. I'm not with anybody else. Like, isn't this enough? Don't you realize I love you? But it doesn't.
My
really,
love's enough, right?
Doesn't really work that way. You got to tend to it like a little bonsai plant.
Exactly.
My husband lied about cross-dressing.
Caesar and balsamic?
This started when I found women's clothing that wasn't mine. Oh, I already know where this is going.
Oh, so he's like, no, babe,
He's like, I'm not cheating on you. I'm into
I
cross-dressing.
like wearing ladies' clothes.
You
That's
can't be
all
mad.
it is.
And at the time, I thought my husband David was cheating. I confronted David, and the explanation was that it wasn't an affair, but cross-dressing.
That's fine.
David had photos that backed that up and said it wasn't a spicy thing or something done in public.
Something done in public.
He said he was sorry for hiding it and that fear of my reaction was what led to it. By the way, this comes from Anonymous 83 11 27 88 92 3. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I honestly was not bothered about David wanting to cross-dress in private sometimes. I mean, why can't he do it in public?
Because it's
Weird.
embarrassing. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, I'm just... I offered to buy clothes or makeup or give advice on dressing like a woman.
Well, I mean, maybe I take it back. Sometimes it could be, sometimes it is embarrassing to let it's not that the act itself is embarrassing. It's that sometimes it's embarrassing to be yourself around others, Not that that's how it should be, but it can definitely feel that way,
I see what you're saying.
Like, go try to just, dance in public with music in your headphones and see how
I think
long it
it'd
takes
be-
before you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm more so looking at, OP being like, I'm fine with it, but it might just be
It's
she's
hard to
trying
do stuff when
yeah.
you inevitably will have people looking at you being like, that's wrong. That's wrong. And you shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong.
I can honestly say I didn't care and was not upset. But I found out that David lied about it not being spicy related or something done in public, because there had been meetups with other women and men to have spicy sleep while cross-dressing. So he didn't lie about the cross-dressing part. He just both had an affair and was cross-dressing.
There's a lot of layers to this little lasagna we got cooking right now.
Yikes. Yeah, him wanting to wear like dresses and things is totally fine. Him cheating on his wife, terrible. David's excuse after I found out about the lie was not wanting to subject me to it, and that even after I found out and was supportive, it would have been too degrading and disrespectful to me. You're right there, bud. You're right there. David was not sure about his spicy orientation or gender identity when I asked, but he admitted to meeting at least 36 other men and women for spicy sleep since the cross-dressing started, even after I was supportive and said I would be okay with spicy sleep during it. Wow. You are incredibly supportive. So not only were you like, obviously I'm fine with you wanting to dress how you want to dress, but also I'm fine with you sleeping with other people so that you can find out your identity. Wow. And he still
supportive.
He still cheated on you?
What's the sturdier dish, a lasagna or a moussaka?
What?
Isn't that like the Greek version of lasagna?
What does that have to do with this?
Because we're building there's a lot of layers.
Oh, okay, got you.
We're building, and now I want the more support, because there's a lot of support going on from OP. So what kind?
I have no idea.
What kind of dish are we cooking up here, folks?
I've had to go and get tested because David didn't use protection while having spicy sleep with any of these strangers. Immediate divorce.
No, now it's
Immediate
a rotten
divorce.
lasagna. No.
Immediate. I mean, like, obviously it was divorce before, but like, faster. Go faster. Mostly I'm heartbroken that David went behind my back, lied even after I was supportive, and is now trying to act like it's a mystery as to why I'm filing for divorce. And who cares about what he thinks? We were trying to conceive, and all this was going on too. I feel heartbroken and sick. I love David, but there is no way our marriage survives. No, there isn't. I never thought I would ever be divorced, but I guess everyone thinks it will never happen to them. I haven't told anyone why yet. I'm going to, but until then, you all get to be the first. And comment 1, David needs never mind, OP, leave him. David is a manipulative liar who thinks having spicy sleep with other people because he's too nervous around you makes him seem better. David lied twice, and not only did you have to catch him, but he lied. Had you not found those clothes, you would never have known, and you could have ended up with an STD that could have unalived you years later, because he didn't think to tell you that he was having spicy sleep with strangers instead of his own wife, which he lied to because he was oh so nervous, and instead of telling you the entire truth the first time, he acted on compulsive lying behavior and kept it all from you until you finally got the truth out of them. Divorce. Good luck, OP. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts for OP?
Sorry.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, like, for OP to have been the most supportive partner and then just get this in return is terrible.
Yeah, I thought we had a lasagna turn into a big pile of sloppy Joe.
Yeah, mud pie. But there is an update. What?
Sorry.
Update.
I was just thinking of the skit from I Think You Should Leave. I was just
Not familiar. Anyway, 2 years later, it ripped me apart. I couldn't stay after finding out David had cheated with so many people and couldn't even remember how many there were.
That's crazy.
That's even worse.
That's pretty problematic. Almost as problematic as Kim Fine's comment. And I'll just let that one. Good job, Kim.
Rough. At first.
Literally.
Rough. Rough. Rough like a dog. Yeah, she did it.
At first, when everyone found out David cheated on me so many times, I had a lot of support. When David started living full-time as a woman and started seeing a therapist to deal with having to hide that, a lot of the support dried up. You really find out who your friends are when something like this happens. 12 years of knowing David was a lie. I got lots of heat for not supporting David and for leaving. That's ridiculous. You were so supportive.
Every time you were rolling in a strange circle if that's the case, for real.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If everyone said, "Oh, you didn't support it," I'd be like, "I'm sorry. What did he tell you? What did she say?"
Yeah.
Because,
what? Yeah. For real.
Because I was incredibly supportive of her. 12 years of knowing David was a lie. Oh, I got lots of heat for not supporting David and for leaving. It hurt, but the upside is that I know who my true family and friends are, even if most people supported David over me. I filed for divorce in December of 2022, and it was finalized 6 days ago because David didn't want a divorce and tried to stop it while seeing other people still. It was finalized 6 days ago, a day after our anniversary. I'm over it now. I moved away from Vancouver and I have a new job and know who my real family and friends are. There were some nice comments on my last post, which I appreciated so much. Comment 1 says, cheating is still cheating, regardless of whether someone is exploring to find themselves. Yes. You are absolutely allowed to, need time to figure out who you are. But if you're in a relationship, then you have to communicate that or leave that relationship. It is not fair to your partner. It's a marriage, and they should be sharing that with you and not using their confusion for trash behavior. Good luck to you as you move forward. And there's another update 3 years later. But
I hope it's like
I'm doing
you're
well.
living a new life, and
Yeah.
David reached out and was like, I was so far out of line for doing that and also expecting you to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, and I don't expect your forgiveness. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Like David using, I'm going to use their, because we don't know what pronouns David goes by
I'm
now.
just going to say David.
Yeah, David or their. But David using their transition, like weaponizing it against you with your guys' mutual friends and making you seem like the bad person when all you've done is support. And then, yeah, I don't know, just like justifying David's cheating with their transition is wild. Update 3 years later. This will be the last time I post about this because I want to move on. I am divorced and I have a new life, and that part of my life is over. To give a short recap of my last post, I found out my ex-spouse was into cross-dressing. I was told it was a personal thing behind closed doors, and I honestly didn't mind having it in our bedroom. However, it turned out my ex-spouse cheated on me with more men and women than could be counted. When I filed for divorce because of the cheating, my ex-spouse came out as transgender. People turned on me when my ex-spouse came out, even if they were initially supportive after finding out I left because of the cheating. Again, I don't understand how they could know about the cheating and then take away their support.
Because they are weirdo Vancouverans, and they can be weird where I don't, okay, to be clear, I don't think all people in Vancouver are weird. I just remember they said that's where they were from. So these were just
okay.
weirdos in Vancouver is what
I
I'm
see
trying to say.
I didn't understand that.
I immediately realized, I was like, wait a minute.
Wait.
That sounded like I was saying all of Vancouver is weird.
Oh, clip it.
You
He
just
said
had
it.
He said
weird.
it.
He just said it. He said
Clear,
it.
no, but clearly whoever you were rolling with, if they were like saying you were the
Yeah,
bad
you were the
guy
bad
in this
person? Come
situation,
on.
what?
You really find out who your friends and loved ones are when something like this happens. It ripped me apart inside to first lose my ex-spouse and then have everyone else abandon me. My divorce took a long time because my ex was transitioning and also because the divorce was only wanted on my part and not theirs. My update is that we are now divorced, but more than 5 months after the divorce, my ex-spouse has asked me for another chance to rekindle the relationship. No.
What?
No.
What do you mean? I know I cheated on you dozens of times.
I know I cheated on you, but would you reconsider?
Is there any way you can look past that?
My ex wants to give things another go, even after admitting to cheating on me with more women and men than I could count. I had to threaten to get a restraining order to make my ex leave me alone. After I found out about the cheating, I moved to a new city, found a new job, and started rebuilding my life after being abandoned by pretty much everyone. I left Vancouver and moved to another part of the province to start over. I didn't want to get pulled back into my old life after my ex destroyed me and shattered my heart. I want to thank everyone who supported me in the comments and was kind. It helped more than I could tell you, especially since everyone I was close to in real life seemed to abandon me. But we would never abandon you because you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime.
Oh my god.
There is a little bit left to this story, but I'm so sorry, OP. To go through all of that, being the most supportive person and partner, and then to have this response.
I just had the craziest thought.
What?
I mean, I think Canada made it a hate speech prosecutable, right? Like very very prosecutable, I believe.
Uh-huh.
What if all of your friends were literally worried that if they spoke out against this person, that it could be used against them in court, and that's why they couldn't support you?
Now that's a
No,
conspiracy
That's
theory.
a huge conspiracy, but they also would have messaged OP on the side and be like, hey, I'm with you. Just like, you know.
I support
would be crazy.
I support you. I support your rights, but I don't support your wrongs.
That'd be crazy.
That would be a conspiracy theory. But there's a little bit left. One other thing I wanted to note is that I have absolutely no problem with transgender or attracted to the same gender people. None at all. I wasn't trying to dead name my ex-spouse in my other posts. I was just using the same name throughout so it wouldn't be confusing. The name I picked when I made my first post was a fake name anyway, and not my ex's real name. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I know some comments and messages I got sent were angry at me for that, but it wasn't my intention. I also used the name instead of pronouns to make it less confusing. It was never my intention to hurt or upset anyone.
It's crazy that this person cheated on you dozens of times, and there's people worried about you using a fake name.
Well, that's the
and
thing.
dead naming them.
Well, I feel like that's
crazy.
how OP is.
That's crazy to me.
I think that's how OP has been treated by their friends too. It seems like everyone is making this more of a, like, OP's ex's transition the main focus, when OP has never been anything but supportive, except when they were cheated on. And everyone's like glossing over that. And I think that's super unfair, because OP's still clearly giving this person like a lot of, I don't know, just like support in who they are, even in how they write it, and yet is dealing with being betrayed. And everyone else is focusing on something, you know, focusing on how, I don't know, her ex's experience. And that's really tough. Comment 1, I'm having a hard time understanding why your friends and family would turn on you for leaving someone who so brazenly betrayed you. A gender identity crisis is not a license to cheat on your spouse, and it's crazy anyone would think you'd have any fault in that. You had the rug pulled out from you in the harshest way possible, and those people should have been there to support you. I'm sorry you went through that. And that is the end of that story. Yeah. I'm so sorry, OP.
Wow.
Yeah. You're not at fault here.
Wowzers.
But that's the end of that story.
I found my boyfriend's secret Twitter account, so I dumped him.
What were you hiding?
Secret Twitter.
Yeah.
We have a trigger warning for verbal. I, 21 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 25 male, for about a year. A couple of weeks ago, I glanced over at his phone and saw that he was on a Twitter account that I didn't know about. When I was alone, I looked up the Twitter handle and started reading through his tweets. I saw several tweets to other users giving them advice to cheat on their partners, spicy related
What?
comments about some girl's kitty, the spicy kind, and some more degrading comments.
Ew.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Secret Twitter, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly,
I'm Sophia.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, reading through the comments made me feel sick to my stomach. I feel disappointed and stupid because how he presented himself to me is not at all like the person who made those comments. I'm currently living with my parents, and my boyfriend and I have talked about moving in together. My parents' household is very toxic, and I feel desperate to move out. He also doesn't hesitate to take care of some of my finances, as I am disabled and can't work currently. I don't ask him for money, but he has offered to help out. We have had a rocky relationship from the start, but we both have strong feelings for each other, at least from what he's told me. I'm not sure how to bring up the secret Twitter and the posts he's made, or if I should say anything about it at all.
Well, yeah, you should,
You should.
because this is very concerning that he's, you know, saying any of this type of very degrading, inappropriate stuff online. Doesn't really matter if he's doing it from like an anonymous account,
Right.
because he's still saying this stuff, and that means he believes it, at least to a certain degree.
Yeah. Also, personal opinion. I do feel like a year is pretty early to move in. I know you're not in a good
yeah.
spot to stay there, and it's totally your call. But I would just be weary because clearly
Certainly
after a
don't
year,
move in after this.
right? You sometimes don't know a person after a year. Still, proof be told.
Yeah, break up.
I feel like if I say anything, he will just delete it and make a new one. I don't want to date someone who thinks about women the way he does, but leaving him would mean I would need to stay at my parents' house and I would be struggling financially again.
I will say, like, I agree that you should get out of your parents' house, but
Yeah.
there's got, maybe friends, maybe going on to Facebook, things. You can find people that you can live with.
Yeah, I would be worried that in moving in with him, it might not seem like it now, but you could be putting yourself into a worse situation than what you're in right now.
Absolutely. Do not move in with him.
No.
Try not to move back in with your parents or stay with your parents. But let's see if we can find any other people that we can live with.
I also want to note that I'm not with him just for financial reasons. I love him and could see a future with him. There just seems to be so many red flags. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm worried he's taking advantage of my naivete. How should I bring this up with him? Thank you for taking the time to read my post. Some relevant comments. XJRQH says, I guarantee you that his true colors will show once you two are living together. And do you really want to be fully dependent on that person? Opie says, that's my fear. I want to think that talking to him about it would change his mind, but I don't know if I'm just in denial about it all. I don't want to be dependent on anyone. It's just challenging given my disability. Another commenter says, is it a spicy hobby thing? Wait, that's not better if he was looking at it next to you. OP responds, I don't think he intended for me to see, as I saw the phone as it was sitting down next to him and he quickly exited out. I actually have asked him if he had spicy hobbies, and he only responded with, what kind of question is that?
What do you mean? I don't like that. I think that's a perfectly good question. I think you should be asking
Perfectly
your
fine
partners
question.
that.
You should know about that.
I think it's an important question to ask.
He asked me if I would ever have a menage a trois with him and another female. I said I wouldn't be comfortable. I turned the question on him and asked how he would feel if he saw me with another man, and he just said he would unalive us both. Okay, I'm going to stop you
Girl.
right here. When a man
Girl.
says that, you believe him. You believe him.
Girl.
Because he would.
And we stayed.
Up
Move in.
with this man.
Out.
Let me make sure this isn't them down there. It's not. We're good. When he saw that I was scared, he said he was just joking. He wasn't. We have an update 2 days later. Any other thoughts?
Break up.
Yesterday morning, I confronted my now ex-boyfriend. Yay! About the secret Twitter account he has been using to make derogatory and inappropriate comments. My stomach was hurting and my hands were shaking in anticipation for the conversation I was about to have with my boyfriend. I found out about this account almost 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't said anything until yesterday. I knew once I brought it up, our relationship would be completely over. I've gone back and forth in my mind, deciding if it's worth bringing up or if I should just move on and forget about it. Yesterday, I told him I needed to talk, and I've asked him to sit down on the couch. I said, I've seen what you've been posting on Twitter. I made sure to keep my voice quiet and calm since he has a tendency to become explosive whenever accusations were made against him. He responded with, okay, this is how you talk to people? This is what you think about others? What are you talking about? I've done nothing wrong. Show me what you're talking about. I got up and grabbed my phone to read off comments I'd screenshotted about another person that asked for advice on what to do since his girl best friend who he was crushing on was going through a breakup. And he wrote, just play the part and soon your wiener will be in her mouth. She's gonna need some good poking to get through this. More concerning to me were the comments giving advice to cheat. To one man who was unhappy about his spicy sleep life with his wife, he said, start looking for a side piece, shouldn't have to beg for head. Another comment to a man who wanted to grow his family but his wife was hesitant said, go make a second family in a foreign country. Spread your seed. Notable inappropriate comments included, wiener her down, get some head bro, make sure you bust the biggest nut on her face, your parents don't want to think about you getting your kitty ate, you probably got some good kitty. I mean, what the F? I would never be involved with a man who talked this way. What's more concerning is wondering what else he's hiding since he thinks it's totally okay to cheat if you're unhappy and not getting your way in a relationship. His response, that's not mine. I told him that he used the same username he had for his old Instagram. The area code is from the town he grew up in, and he posts specific information that identifies him. He became enraged. Why are you spying on me? Trying to spy on me? Now you want to make up fake scenarios? pull up your dating accounts. Show me your Twitter. Give me your phone. I said, I knew you would act this way. I caught you making inappropriate comments, and instead of admitting it, you're lying to my face and now treating me as if I have done something wrong. This is so disappointing. The way you're acting online is not how you have presented yourself to me. I don't have a dating account, and I have nothing to hide on my phone. You're not going to turn this on to me. This is not okay. Honestly, A+ OP for...
Yeah, good on
for
you,
that.
OP. Stand your ground. This guy sucks.
I genuinely am disgusted.
Yeah.
I told him all he had to do to prove it wasn't his was open the Twitter app and show me that his account wasn't on there. He refused. I have nothing to prove to you, witch. I don't need to show you my phone. What, now you want to start snooping through my phone? At this point, my hands were shaking, and I was so upset that it was hard for me to talk. He walked towards the door and said he was leaving. I stood in front of the door. He took out his phone and started taking a video of me. He said, "This is why I don't deal with people like you. You're a Karen. I'm going to call the police because you're holding me hostage." At that point, OP, I would say let him go.
No, this is
Dude,
just,
thank-
I mean, like, he's just a horrendous person.
Thank God you did not live with this man.
Oh, yeah, just be
You
happy about
dodged
that.
The biggest
So
thing
bold,
ever.
like, so giant of a bullet. Yeah.
He called his mother, put her on speakerphone, and said he was being held hostage. Then he pushed me aside, walked out the door, and said, "Now I am safe." I said, "You acted exactly as I thought you would. You're a self-absorbed person. Your behavior is disgusting. How can you stand there and lie straight to my face when I have proof in my hand? If this isn't yours, it's so easy to prove, isn't it? You aren't smooth." He responded, "I am smooth. I'm the man. I'm a king. You're a skanky butt. You're the biggest liar I've ever met." I went inside my house and he started banging on the door. I went downstairs to my room until he left. After an hour and a half, I counted 30 plus missed calls from him. I checked his Twitter and he posted, "Once a witch, always a witch." I saw posts and comments had been deleted. I've tried breaking up with him in the past over unrelated things, and he ended up creating new phone numbers and emails so he could find a way to get the last word in. I expect that he will beg for me to take him back and will say that he will change, that he's going to seek out counseling, etc. By the way, you can always seek out full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, search up OK Storytime. We have a little bit more. I am so glad that you dumped this man.
Yeah. Wow. He
Wow.
stinks.
Stinky,
Wow,
stinky
yeah.
poo-poo, man.
Oh, man.
How
wow.
he was able to hide this for a year is crazy. Just gonna finish it. Today, he sent me $200 with a note saying, "Have a good weekend." Then he texted me saying he booked a trip for us to get out of town for the weekend. He will stop at nothing. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to take him back because I am desperate to feel love. I know that none of it is real. It hurts so bad to be betrayed by someone you trusted. I had an ex that behaved almost the exact same way. I don't want to attract these type of men. I think I'm going to make an appointment to see a counselor so I can work on being independent. I can't seem to find the love I desire from men, so I hope that one day I may find it elsewhere. If you've taken the time to read, thank you. Moral of the story, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. That is the end of that
You know, I mean,
story.
like, I do believe in finding love
Yeah.
in yourself and through your friendships and your family.
I
But,
think-
don't you know, feel like you won't ever find romantic love.
You're 21.
Yeah, that's like you've got so much time.
This is probably one of the first relationships that you've had.
Yeah.
Who knows how long term they've been before. You have now learned so many things that you
Mhm.
don't want and what to look for and not to want.
Exactly.
My roommate acted rudely after I let my mother move in with us.
Well, maybe your mom sucks. You ever thought about that?
My 24 female roommate, 27 female, refuses to let my mother, 61 female, move into a vacant room in my apartment because I just can't live with someone's mother. I'm too grown for that. By the way, this comes from Incandescent Lights, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. For context, I have lived in my apartment for 6 years. My roommate, who we'll call Anna, is a subletter, not on the lease. She pays our other roommate, 26 male, rent, and he sends it to our landlord. Anna is very much what I would like to call a clean freak. She sends entire paragraphs about what I view as small things, saying stuff like, "I feel like I do everything around here. hey, stove wasn't cleaned properly, etc. I get the feeling that these messages are all directed at me, as she usually comes to me with these complaints. To the best of my knowledge, she doesn't treat my other roommate this way. The two of them have been friends for many years. I have multiple jobs and cannot keep up with her demands. All of her messages read as passive-aggressive, and it's gotten to the point where nobody responds to her. I am expected to do everything to her standards, but nothing I do is good enough. Just believe me when I tell you that she has a lot of unreasonable demands, such as no using the vacuum until she wakes up. She doesn't get up until 3 to 4 p.m. and no using any dish towels to dry the counters. She doesn't respect my schedule and needs, but I have to respect hers. A couple of months ago, another roommate, Joyce, fake name, and a good friend of mine moved out shortly after Anna moved in, saying to everyone that she just needed more space. Privately, she told me part of her reason for leaving was Anna and her controlling behavior. When Joyce moved out, we of course needed another roommate. My mom's lease was about to end, and she wanted to get out of the small town she's lived in for over 30 years and move to the city I'm in. Not only to be closer to me, she's 1,300 miles away, but also for better work opportunities. I offered the room to her, she accepted, and started making plans for her big move. I told my roommates, and they seemed fine with it. It was only going to be temporary for a few months while she got her footing, a new job, etc., and then she planned on finding her own apartment. Well, it's now 3 weeks out from my mom's move, and Anna is not okay with my mom living here. She said respectfully, in a pretty disrespectful tone, that she refuses to live with someone's mom. She's too old for that, too grown, and that it would completely change the way she acts and lives her life. As in her culture, she has to act a certain way around people she considers elders. She wouldn't be able to have anyone over, no friends, no guys or girls she's maybe dating, nobody.
I mean,
Nobody.
That's not true. You're making rules for yourself now and then saying there are rules? No, those are yours.
She would have to censor herself, and it would completely uproot her life. I assured her that it would be fine. She's met my mom. My mom's cool and super chill. She'd barely be here anyway because she'd be at work or exploring the city. My mom wouldn't care if she has people over. She said, yeah, no, that wouldn't work. I can't have someone's mom in my house. My house? Her house? That struck a nerve with me. I have been here for 6 years. She's been here less than 5 months and is not on the lease. She feels like a guest to me.
Oh, yeah, then you don't have to listen to literally a word she says.
Also, you brought it up to all of your roommates. Everyone said they were okay with it. And now, right before your mom's coming, she's like, well, I've changed my mind. After all the nagging, reprimanding, and constant critiques of how I do things, I felt insulted, but I didn't say anything. She has an entitled attitude, came into someone else's home and told them how they have to live their life to suit her needs. And now she refuses to let my mom live here for just a couple of months. My mom has all her travel plans booked, a moving van. She's already packed her stuff into boxes and told her apartment that she's not renewing the lease. There's no going back. We thought there wasn't an issue with her moving in for a bit, so now I don't know what to do. She can't find an apartment on her own as she doesn't make enough money yet to qualify for one. I'm her only option, really, and I do owe her. She's helped me a lot lately and been an amazing mother. She's the only real family I have, and I want to give her this opportunity to have a better life after all of the things she's been through and all she's done for me. My mom wants to go ahead and just move in anyway, but I know Anna would make my life heck if that happened. She's a pretty volatile person, and I'm in no place to live in the same apartment as someone who hates me. I've done my best to stay on her good side thus far, but I think this would end in complete disaster. I myself would move out to get away from all this, but I don't have the money to do so, and again, this place has been my home for 6 years. Right after I made that post, Anna actually went on another one of her text message tirades about how we don't do things in the apartment to our very specific standards, trying once again to control us. She berated us, called us disrespectful, insulted our character, and put herself on a pedestal as the gold standard for how a household should be run. It went on for hours, paragraph after paragraph, and you want to know why it started? I dried off a small water spill on the kitchen counter with a kitchen towel, which apparently, according to her, I'm not allowed to do. I stood up for myself, basically told her to shove it, and she decided that was the time to bring up every gripe and groan and whiny complaint she had, all while insulting Dan and me. Dan then joined in and started backing me up, which was a shock, seeing as he usually doesn't stand up for himself either. I sent Dan a long private text message basically stating that Anna needs to be evicted, her time is up, and we can't keep living like this. And he agreed, but seemed to be dragging his feet until a few days later. Anna was having one of her loud phone conversations in the living room, as she does, which we are not allowed to do, and Dan overheard her calling him discriminatory, saying that his family probably owned slaves at one point, among other untrue things. That was his final straw. He confronted her. She accused him of eavesdropping on your loud public living room conversation. She's like, you eavesdropped on the conversation that I was having right next to you.
That'd be like if we were talking on the live and we said something and then we were like, ew, gross, you heard that?
What the
You're
frick?
eavesdropping on us right
Why
now.
did you listen to the public live stream? He took that out of context, to which he replied, you're yelling in the living room. Sound carries. I know what I heard. I have also heard her talking badly about us, but nothing to that degree. On the 14th of last month, we sent her the 30-day notice to vacate while we were both out of the house, as we didn't want to be home when she exploded with rage, as she tends to do. We also informed her that my mom would be moving in. She had no say in the matter, seeing as she isn't on the lease and would not be here much longer anyway. The day she got the 30-day notice, she basically refused to leave and still is, so we will likely have to take her to court. We have talked to our landlord and explained the whole situation, and he is willing to help us get her out. She's making no moves to leave, and at this point only has 9 days left of her 30-day notice. If I could, I would just throw her belongings on the street, just like she did to some of my stuff I left in the living room one time. But that's illegal.
I know it's to protect people from exploitive situations, but I hate that it allows people like this to just
exploit
exist.
You guys. She keeps making excuses, saying it's impossible. She has nowhere to go. Well, you had a month to figure that out. She's going to be homeless, blah, blah. Joyce, my old roommate and friend who moved out because of Anna, let me in on some interesting information. Anna has never paid her own bills the whole time she's lived here. Dan has been paying them for her. I knew he was covering her for electric and Wi-Fi, but I didn't know it was rent too. I assumed she worked from home or something, but nope. She has just been living her unemployed life, bills paid for her. I freaking knew it. Bills paid for her, only interested in trying to micromanage 2 grown adults with full-time jobs instead of getting one herself. As I suspected, I also learned she's always treated Dan this way. She's always been crappy to him, just as she is to her other friend, the one whose laptop she smashed. She's been using him for years, it seems, until recently he finally stopped letting her get away with it. My mom is here, currently unpacking in the other room. Anna has been as obnoxious as ever since my mom and I got here a couple days ago from our cross-country road trip with the moving van, slamming doors, singing loudly, talking on the phone loudly, sending paragraphs about how my mom has a couple of boxes in the kitchen, which are full of kitchen things, and how that makes the kitchen unlivable for her. By the way, your job can be listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Pokey Storytime. Anna has no room to talk when a whole corner of the living room has been occupied by a giant pile of her boxes she hasn't unpacked for the last 6+ months, completely blocking access to the coat utility closet.
Honestly, I have to put it out there. I put part of this blame on you, and it's not a small amount. You and Dan and the other roommate who just decided to run and leave instead of just confronting this girl. I do put a non-insignificant portion of blame upon you for having taken 6 months to be like, this needs to change.
I would love to just throw the boxes on the street, but she could call the cops on me for that. So for now, they just have to stay. Despite all this, I am simply ignoring her. Dan currently has the flu, but once he feels better, we're gonna have to sit down and figure out our game plan, as Anna has said to both of us that she will not be leaving. She flat out refused to honor the 30-day notice we gave, so it's likely going to housing court for us, which unfortunately may be a long process. I cannot tolerate her being here for that long, and she can't afford to pay the retainer for legal representation, so fingers crossed she gives up and leaves. And that's the end of that story, folks. I sure hope so, girl. I sure hope so.
I'm into my neighbor. Now I need to find out if she feels the same.
Ooh, let's get it on.
I, female 24, bought my first house. Congratulations! In September last year. It was an odd time, but everything just fell into place. It's quite a small village, and everyone is really friendly, so I got to know my neighbors soon after moving in. Yes, socially distanced. Then I met my over-the-road neighbor. Let's call her L, 27 female. By the way, this comes from Throw R.A. Love Thy Neighbor. On brand. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OP OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Savannah.
And I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. As OP says, I can't describe it, but it's the first time I've ever met someone and been lost for words. And my heart was racing. And I just thought, OMG, you know? So after I blushed my way through a welcome to the village combo, we only saw each other for a wave and a hello for a few days. To help kind of settle in, I had my dog, B, with me for the first few weeks. During this time, there was a massive increase in dog thefts in my nearby town. But these dog thefts were not just from gardens, but literally wrestling them away from people. If I'd been working, in parentheses, furloughed off since March, then I would have taken B back to my mom's. But since I was home with her all day, she stayed. So the local police advised not to walk dogs alone, but we go out twice a day. I do a 10K run, good for you, in the morning and a few miles walk in the evening. So obviously this scares me, but at the same time, she is honestly a pain in the tuchus and gets upset if she doesn't go for a run and needs to be tired out, so I'm kind of stuck at this point. Then along comes Elle. She knocked on the door and offered to come with us as she'd seen B and me in the evenings, and everything kind of spiraled from there. I told her about my morning runs, but she didn't really bite, so I thought nothing of it. Then, a few days later, I bumped into her on a run. So she started to join us on those too. Okay, so she's joining you on the runs. This is like...
Everyone's running.
Everyone's running, but also, like, she knocked on your door. This is good.
Oh, yeah. If they do it, then it's like...
Ooh, okay. A few months later, and we were spending more and more time together every day. This has now progressed to a run early in the morning, afternoon coffee, dinner most evenings, and then even a walk. It just seemed to happen without me really noticing. I didn't read into things that much, as I don't want to get my hopes up and ruin anything until another neighbor commented about how much time we spend together and how it's nice to see you young gals getting on, and winked. She actually winked at me. I asked her what she meant, but she just laughed and said, "You know what I mean." So now I'm looking back on things and wondering if she could like me too. Yeah. You guys are spending all your day together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get up in the morning and we go for a long 6-mile 10K run. Then after that we go get coffee, and then we have dinner together. Yeah, you guys definitely like each other. Here's some reasons why she might like me. I went running along the same route at the same time for nearly 2 weeks before I happened to run into her a few days after I told her this. I make her coffee every afternoon. Elle is work from home, and I take it over in her favorite mug. She says I make good coffee, and I'm pretty sure I saw a fancy coffee machine the first time I went around. That's not there now. Okay, so you're saying like she might have gotten rid of her coffee machine, so
she could
you
go
have.
get. I doubt that's the reason, but there was probably something wrong with that.
Yeah.
That coffee machine. They're like, yeah, we should get a new one or
I don't
whatever.
know. Elle carried on running and walking with me even after B went home. I told her she was going back to mom's, and she went, "Well, I have to make another excuse to join you." Yeah, and then we just carried on every day. She has tried really hard to bond with B. B is a very anxious dog and is scared of everyone except for me and mom. Elle brought special treats to give her every day and has been so amazing with her and never tried to force anything. When I asked her, she said, "It's important to me that she likes me and is comfortable." B actually fell asleep between us on the sofa yesterday. What were you doing on the sofa? Watching a movie together? That's dating material. And it just makes my heart skip a beat, guys. She invited me to the Zoom quiz that she does with her friends, so like a trivia, every fortnight or so. And they were all like, "Oh, so this is who we've heard so much about." We realized we had become each other's support bubble. Elle asked if I was meeting anyone else, and I said no. She said she was glad she had me all to herself.
Okay.
Exclamation marks.
If I said that to someone, I'd be like, "Glad to have you all doing this." What? I can't even say it. But I'm glad I have you all to myself.
Are you
Hot.
kidding?
Are you kidding? We can make out right now.
Also, this started with, I need to find out if this person I have a crush on likes me. Excuse you. You know.
How much obvious can it get?
All right. We gave each other quite personal Christmas presents. Like, it actually made me tear up. It meant so much to me. And she bought stuff for B, the dog. Reasons why she might not like me.
Here we go.
All the reasons above, but that she's just doing them because she's an effing great person and we're friends. It might sound dumb, but I don't know. I need your guys' help. She is just the most incredible person I have ever met, and I really, really like her. But if she isn't attracted to the same gender or doesn't feel the same, I don't want to lose her friendship, as she has become such a huge part of my life. I genuinely have no experience with these kinds of things, as I went to quite a strict all-girls school, so it's not as if there were any relationships around me as a teen. And then I went to a very small university. 8 of us in your course. I guess another reason is that I've struggled with anxiety and depression for the past 10 years, as well as my weight and working on my self-confidence. But I can say that right now I am the happiest and healthiest, both mentally and physically, I have ever been. I've only just really become comfortable with the fact that I'm attracted to the same gender, and I have never really told anyone in real life, but I don't think people would be able or would be too surprised. I don't have any close friends, as no one stuck around when I was struggling with my mental health a few years ago.
Oh.
So I can't discuss this with anyone in real life. So I need your advice. How do I find out if she is attracted to the same gender? And no, I don't have the confidence to just ask. What if she says no and I ruin everything? She has never mentioned anything about past relationships, and I'm pretty tactless, so not sure how I could naturally slip it into convo.
I feel like it started like this, and now it's going to
It's going well because it's getting okay. She's opening up, and we're learning a little bit more about her. Like, hey, tell me, have you ever had a girlfriend? Do you want one now? LOL.
That's
And how can I make a move without really making a move so I don't ruin things? Edit. Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for your support and encouragement. You've all given me a lot to think about, and I think I'm going to casually slip some attracted to the same gender stuff into conversation and see how she reacts. Then bring up the neighbor's comment, like some of you suggested, seeing as though the neighbor was heavily implying that we are attracted to the same gender. I'll do it tonight, otherwise I'll talk myself out of it again. I will post an update and let you know how it happens. Eek! If you never hear from me again, assume it went badly and I am consoling myself with cake and watching Brokeback Mountain in a flood of tears. What's your advice to have her find out if L is attracted to the same gender?
See, the thing is, I've been on the other side where I'm very straight, but other people don't think that. and then I make friends with these girls, and then they think it's more, and I'm like, oh my, I'm so sorry, I did not mean that has happened only once, really. that has happened one time.
That has happened so much one time.
But
it's happened so once.
But it's happened once, and it ruined me because I felt so bad, and she was my best friend, and we don't talk anymore because of that. Because you can't be friends because she's in love with me, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I wish I could give that to you, but I'm just
Yeah.
I couldn't, and so it's really. So I understand.
What's at risk? What's at stake? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's an update 3 days later. Hi, Reddit. Yes, it's me, the useless Sapphic. I had a plan to drop these attracted to the same gender hints into convos like you guys suggested, but honestly, it all went out the window. Elle was kind of stressed Friday after a crappy work Zoom and just needed to vent, so it wasn't the right time to start anything. Though I guess I must have been a bit off thanks to spending all day overthinking things on here, as Elle turned up Saturday morning rambling about stressing me out and apologizing for ruining dinner. So she felt that she was ruining stuff.
Aw.
Obviously, I said, "What are you talking about? You can talk to me about anything." And she said, "Anything?" And I said, "Anything back." And guys, the tension was unreal. Staring at each other and hoping that the sapphic mind-reading powers would punt in. Then there was some loud noise like a car backfiring or something, and the moment went. So I went to make coffee, and then Elle asked me why I was a bit quiet the night before, and I said something about overthinking stuff, and she said, "What stuff?" And I don't know, you guys. I wasn't prepared to put on the spot. My casual, attracted to the same gender pop culture references were useless in this moment. My mind just went completely blank, and I forgot every single thing you guys suggested. My heart was pounding, and I just blurted out, "You know, I like you, right?" And then she kissed me.
Aww.
Kissed me straight up. Just snogged in the kitchen, and it was effing great. So you were right. You were all effing right. She's attracted to the same gender. She likes me, and she's been trying to drop hints for nearly 5 months. Sigh. Oh. We were both just too scared to make a move or ruin anything. Turns out she's been burned by straight girls in the past. So she's pretty wary and was hoping I'd straight up say I'm a sapphic. So she'd know for sure. Maybe I'm the sapphic wall hanging would have been a good idea after all. Oh, like
there you go.
a photo.
But maybe I'm the sapphic wall hanging would have been like hanging something on the wall that says I'm a sapphic.
Yeah, like clearly like
Yeah,
a Georgia O'Keeffe painting.
A big old sign.
Yeah. Her friends have been helping her drop hints. She
Aw.
showed me the group chat. You had a group chat. And guys, there's suggestions range from flirting more to just turning up in a trench coat with nothing else on.
How
Those are
fun.
good friends. Also, the winking neighbor has been making comments to her as well. So shout out to her for trying to make this happen too. By the way, you can make this show happen whenever you want.
Whoa.
You can listen to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but first, let's discuss.
You did it, OP. And I'm glad. Sometimes you just have to rip off the Band-Aid after a while, because this girl literally reminds me of Sophia. Because you just like don't say anything. You just go on and on and on and on for literally as long as you can like do it. Then just one day you're just like, okay, by the way, like, I don't know what this is, but like, I like you, you know? And then it's like, okay, I've literally been trying to drop hints for like, you know, then it's not that you wasted all that time, because it actually is like a fun like thing to like play, but only to a specific point. If it was 5 months, I would hate that. I'd be like, after like the first month, honestly, probably after like the first 2 weeks, I'd be like, okay, does he like me or like what? Like, what's happening?
All right. So, no cake and crying watching Brokeback Mountain. Just 5 months of dating to catch up on.
Aw.
As for worrying about how our current schedule could be more date-like during the lockdown, you were right. It's kind of irrelevant when you've essentially been dating the whole time. Though we never made it to our morning run yesterday. In fact, we didn't leave the house at all. Thank you guys for giving me hope, even if all your suggestions were completely disappeared in the moment. Maybe I'll show her the post later and ask if any of the suggestions would have worked. And I think that's it.
My neighbor accused me of breeding rats, so I fought back.
I fought back with my army of rats.
I've lived in the house I own with my husband for 12 years. It's a terrace built in the 1860s with a lot of things like coal chutes and cellars that undercut other people's properties. We live near farmland, and we're told when we bought it that rats were in the area, and to keep a good supply of rat wire to keep them out.
Yes.
By the way, this comes from Euphoric Grab 9861. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, there has never been any sign that there have been rats in our house. but we know others have had problems. On to the weirdness. My neighbor and I were on decent terms until he decided not to be and called the council on us for having a compost bin. The water company for something that was found to be his fault. They ruined my 40th birthday by constantly calling. And he tried to call the police because I laughed at another neighbor calling him a bellend. He threw a fit when we decided we would no longer communicate with him unless absolutely necessary. So he started claiming to anyone who would listen that I trap and breed rats in my greenhouse.
Yes, I do. I'm trying to make them evolve at an increased rate.
He loudly told an exterminator he'd called after seeing one whole rat in my garden, and I was amused and appalled. I found out when having a casual chat with another neighbor at the bus stop that he's been making these claims for over a year, and then heard it again from the man himself telling someone else. Not once has he mentioned it to us, and he will use any excuse to try to get us to talk to him. The exterminator was adamant that if I was breeding and keeping rats in a 3x2 meter greenhouse, then the smell and noise would be unbearable. But the neighbor is undeterred from his delusion. His partner has been in my greenhouse when I showed her my tomato plants and asked if she wanted the excess crop. So she has been telling him that he's delusional too. We've installed cameras in case he tries to take matters into his own hands to prove I am the rat queen, and have been loudly talking about how ridiculous this situation is in his earshot.
Man's gonna buy 20 rats and just release them into your greenhouse.
I'm gonna be like, see, rat queen. We know he has issues and has fixated on me as a malign force, which is another reason for the cameras. We are compiling a spreadsheet of his odd and pestering behavior over the years. I know I'm not breeding rats and do not fear anything he tries to do, but I want to tell internet strangers to get it off my chest, and in the hopes that someone will find it amusing.
Well, we did.
Well,
We have found it to be a source of great amusement.
comments. Commenter 1. If my neighbor told me some other neighbor was breeding rats in their greenhouse, I'd laugh in their face. The idea is ridiculous. OP says no one believes him, so he doubles down. We have each other's numbers and compare notes. Someone replies, my dumb butt would think he was legit, and I'd probably go over and ask them if I could play with the babies. Comment 2. If he's on the elderly side, I'd advise you to call Adult Protective Services or whatever the equivalent is where you are. Or, if possible, call around and see if the police can do a mental health check. That kind of fixation is dangerously and usually will develop into something worse. The most horrible part is they think their actions are justified and they did nothing wrong. OP responds, he's under 50 and adult social care are powerless unless he's arrested or self-surrenders. I've reported it and will lie on file if things escalate. Commenter 3 says, has he been seen by a health professional? Sounds like something might be going wrong with his brain. OP says, very difficult to get someone seen by a mental health people in the UK if they don't want to. He'd have to be arrested or considered a threat to himself and others for an assessment against his will. Delusions of rat breeding neighbors don't meet the criteria if he's only talking about it. Commenter 4 downvoted. Why don't you do the same to him? Spread some false information. Put a paper in the bus stop saying something stupid about him. He is a crazy man after all, so you won't be inventing a lot, really. Hope he says he thrives on drama and wants us to react. Laughing at him or ignoring him are the only things that get under his skin.
Everybody, watch out. My neighbor's a big old sweetie pie.
Hi, all. I thoroughly enjoyed the comments on my last post and thought I'd give you a quick update just to remind everyone I'm in the UK. This morning I got a letter from the council's environmental health department to say that my garden was infested with rats and that I had to take immediate action. So I did. I called the extermination company to ask for a statement that there are no rats in my garden or greenhouse. They are happy to oblige. I spoke to my nice neighbors, and they are all also happy to vouch that they have seen no evidence of an infestation and find the rat breeding story both bizarre and hilarious. I wrote a very polite and detailed email to the named contact at the council to say, paraphrased of course, that this is the work of a colossal butt, and I'm considering suing him for malicious complaint, intimidation, and slander. Also, that I cannot take immediate action to remove an infestation I do not have, and would like to know how they came to the conclusion that there is a problem if no one from the council has come to look.
Well, we are on the council. We would look, but we're so scared of rats. They're so scary to me.
We know the butt next door wants to annoy us into moving, but sorry, we're going nowhere. Edit, the extermination company have sent the statement. I called the council, but the named contact is on annual leave until after the deadline I was given to contact them. Update 2. Short update. To say this may go quiet for a while, as I have called the police and will be making a statement tomorrow. I wasn't sure that this route was appropriate, but I've taken some legal advice, and it has reassured me that I need to do this to protect myself and my peace. I also told this story in my local, and they were supportively outraged and advised that they would absolutely call the police if they were in my position. I've spent quite some time researching UK laws on stalking and intimidation, burdens of proof, and the average person argument. It basically says if an average person would be concerned by this person's behavior towards them, then it meets the criteria. Fascinating stuff. I'm also now half and half about whether the letter from the council is legit, as it's riddled with errors and inconsistencies with extremely vague detail for key points. The type where the Microsoft grammar check would tell you off for using the passive voice. I'll find out tomorrow. Though if it isn't, then I'm adding fraud for the purpose of causing distress to the list of complaints. Wish me luck, guys. It might be a while, but I'll see you on the other side and maybe have that rat party. Please bring your rat costumes, extra long tails, dress code, and a delicacy cheese from your country.
I do believe that this post
Cheese.
was written by a bunch of rats in a trench coat.
I had that same suspicion. The neighbor has had a camera installed above his front door. He is perfectly within his rights to do so. This has coincided with him not instantly appearing in the doorway whenever I'm in the garden, so it's a given that his camera is recording my garden. I added this to the police complaint as something to investigate, but was thrilled to know that 2 of my other neighbors have filed complaints to the council about it, as it's a wide-angled one and could potentially be recording their kids and or seeing through their windows. Once recording kids is involved, the council has to act quickly. We have a blackout zone on our cameras and have shown these to our neighbors, except him, even though his garden is the biggest blackout zone. I'm sure he'll plead that we're watching him, but again, the evidence is on our side. We're unsure if he wants to record, to be just an interfering knob, or if his delusions are so bad that he needs to prove somehow that the rat breeding really is happening. Anything he records is inadmissible if it's of our property. And a couple things from the comments. The neighbor and his partner are not married. He refuses to marry her for many reasons that are not my story to tell, but are part of his control at all costs agenda.
She is not a pile of rats.
Have we thought that maybe the neighbor, however, is a pile of rats?
Oh, he is a pile of rats.
Yes, in a trench coat.
And that's why he won't marry
Yes.
his wife, because
He's a pile of
she
rats.
is not a pile of rats.
Exactly. And he
Mm.
actually wants there to be an army so he can find his wife. She hates being referred to as girlfriend or wife, so I will respect that. The council is local government and not any kind of HOA. Most of the UK would consider an HOA as a massive overreach and invasive to the extreme. Being told to control infestations, even if you don't have them, is fine, compared to being told that your grass is 0.0000067 inches too long, or that your door's the wrong shade of woodland green. I know they're not all awful, but Reddit is the place for horror stories. Horticulture revenge is a glorified way of saying, I'm planting a hedge. This hedge will be a glorious array of colors and scents designed to be highly attractive to insects and birds, while also being tall and thorny. Fences can't be very high, but there is no legal limit to plant height and no right to light laws. He can only prune what grows over the fence. Update 4.
Oh boy!
Some have asked for an update, so here it is. Apologies that it won't contain much, as he's gone pretty quiet.
Ah, as a pile of rats do.
Since the cameras were installed, he has stopped popping around for a chat or loitering in places he can see us. He's still annoying us by stomping around his house and the occasional short blast of crappy music, but these are fewer and farther apart. I know he overheard both conversations I had with the police, and I think it's unsettled him into not exactly being a great neighbor, but not being as much of a creepy, invasive beaster. His partner seems to be taking a role in managing him. Other neighbors have also noticed that she's around more, and he isn't trying to insert himself into their business as much. There were a few conversations that we could hear through the walls, he's very loud, that seemed to confirm this. The slow horticultural revenge is going well. Spring is just around the corner, and my plants are starting to show signs of life. I still feel the need to garden when he's not around, unless I'm in the still rat-free, greenhouse. But it seems he now feels the same about me. He stopped trying to take photos of the greenhouse when he saw me watching him, and I put a small sign up reminding him that taking pictures of private property under these circumstances is illegal. Any photo he took and tried to use against us would have this visible. I debated decorating it with a rat, but decided against it. He's not happy that the bird feeders are back, but can't do anything, as they now have reinforced waste catchers, and as his last complaint wasn't upheld, he is on thin ice about this with the powers that be. Someone else made a complaint about his camera, but I don't know if that came to anything, as it's still there. Whether it's attached to anything is another matter, as he's generally inept with technology. We're planning a retractable awning for the front of the house. Windows are full east, so the living room gets really hot in the summer. And once that's installed and the plants are grown and in bloom, it will cut off any view of us. I checked fence planning laws, and it seems nearly everyone on our street is breaking them. But we need to be squeaky clean, or it'll be another council letter. Maybe by summer he'll be back to his old ways, but he seems a little chastened. You never know, maybe he's read my post, recognized himself, and realized that not only is he a colossal butt, but that I can prove it, and I will. The police case is ongoing, but as he's backed off, it will just chug along in the background unless he crosses the line again. Update 5!
Oh boy, we got the ratscapades just keep on coming.
Been a while since I updated, and a few things have happened. A few weeks ago, the police got back in touch to say they had reviewed the evidence and were asking if I wanted to go ahead and prosecute, as the baseline had been met. I thought about it and decided to decline, as he's been relatively quiet. Any outcome would be unlikely to get him to move, and the process would be deeply unpleasant. The police assured me that the case could be reopened if his behavior became concerning again, and asked me to continue documenting everything and call them immediately if I was concerned for my safety. He overheard this conversation as he loudly complained about it to his son. Speaking of the son, he's off to university this year. Not just any university, but one that is arduous to get to from where we live, so there's no chance of his father dropping by and no reasonable expectation of returning for casual weekends. Son has been chatting with neighbors about how he wants to get away, and we, the collective neighbors, are all hoping he gets the grades for his chosen university and lives a happy life. And by the way, you can never get away from listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts from, just search up OK Storytime. There's a whole bunch of episodes.
Reticus, Raticus, you will listen to Thaticus.
We've got a little bit left.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we've got a little bit left. Me personally, I'm disappointed at the lack of rats.
I'm disappointed
in
at the
this
lack of
story.
rat jokes in this story as well. We provided them all.
We need more rats. All right, but on a real level, I think what you did was pretty smart.
My village has a scarecrow festival, and my offering this year was a human-sized rat in academic robes. My friend has a costume shop, so it was half Nutcracker Rat King and half absolutely not Harry Potter school robes. It went down well with everyone except him next door, who complained, not to me, that I was mocking his legitimate concerns. Lastly, we haven't seen or heard from him for over a week. The family are around, but he isn't. He hates leaving the house for more than a few hours, so it must be something pretty big, but not involving his partner and kids. He turned 50 last month, so maybe he's taken himself off somewhere for a midlife crisis, including homeopathy, hair transplants, and motorbikes. That is the end of that story.
It is.
I would have leaned way more into the rats if someone was accusing me of making an army of rats, but
Yeah.
good on you.
I would have become #1 rat fan. There would have been rat stuff wherever they could see it. I ditched my friend because he treated me like a maid.
The ditch is not the sitch you want to be in, friend.
Yeah. Get ditched.
Don't get ditched.
For some context, I am 25 female, dating my now fiance, 26 male. We live in an area that's really high cost of living and have 2 other roommates, Neil and Sunny, who are both male and also in their mid to late 20s. Not sure of their age, they were more my fiance's friends than mine to begin with. And by the way, this comes from Cinnabunbun99. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit where this story came from. So, I'm Dakota.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And OP says, for a lot of background, I have 4 cats, all my babies, and understandably my responsibility. I take on a more traditional housewife role in our relationship. He does the 9 to 5, and I work almost full time. My hours ranging from 20 to 40 hours based on if they need me, and I cook his meals and clean the house. We always try and balance our weeks. If one person is more burnt out than the other, we trade on who cleans and cooks, and so on and so forth. We stayed with Neil for a little bit in a different house before moving to the new one to see what he was about and see if we could coexist. We threw out a couch for him and let his friend Liam, in his mid-20s, male, move in too. Neil vouched for Liam and swore up and down to us that he would be able to pay rent. Liam was late twice, so reasonably when the lease was up, we didn't want him moving to the next spot. Neil understood and told us he would talk to him about being removed from the lease for the next property. My fiance and I were not there for that conversation, but Neil said he took it well. Since this isn't the main story, the TLDR is that Liam tried to blackmail us after we had all parted ways. So, bad guy, Liam. Liam, not a very cool vibe kind of guy.
Blackmail is just always so icky to me, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you know things about somebody, and you're like, I know you well enough that I'm going to use your own life against you.
That's what I wonder, is it's like blackmailing in what way? Like, what could this guy who was basically crashing on the couch have against you?
I know what kind of sandwich spread you like.
I know your sandwich order. In between us house hunting for a new spot from the old one, since the old one was a bit out of budget with not enough parking, I would gather lists of properties and email them to my fiance and Neil to select properties and let me know which ones I can set up for viewing. Neil told my fiance that what I was doing was too tedious and he had explained to me already what he wants and that I should just be looking for his needs too. The reason I had set up the communication this way was because me and my fiance have different needs and wants compared to him, and it's easier if he just tells me which properties fit his needs. Or if he wanted to make suggestions, I was open, but he didn't. He waited for me to send the list, pick a few he liked, and then complain to my fiance that it wasn't what he wanted without making a suggestion of other properties. This happened for at least 2 months as we live in a densely populated area and I started looking ahead of time. In addition to this, since I had to throw out a whole 7-seater couch, I was asking for some kind of reimbursement on my $500 couch. He offered me $50 for the section we had to throw out so his desk could fit in our space. We even paid for his movers since he had to move in with us as a show of good faith. When I started hounding him on what he owed me, he started to call me spastic and anxious behind my back to my fiance, who quickly set Neil straight and told him to stop talking poorly about me to him behind my back. Yeah, buddy, I think you need to learn this thing called a target audience. It's not going to be their fiance when you're down-talking them, or at least it shouldn't. Absolutely crazy move of you.
Also, $50 on a $500 couch. What kind of reimbursement is that?
He's just like, well, I paid you 10%. That's the standard rate. He also, my fiance, informed me that this was happening, which made me wary of Neil. I told my partner to give it some time and maybe he gets better, since maybe we're all just under a lot of stress due to moving. I also tend to be very blunt, which sometimes can come off as rude, and I can see how we might all be pushing each other's buttons right now. Fast forward to the current situation. We moved to the next spot with our military friend Sunny and Neil, and things were peaceful for a bit. Sonny was projected to leave in the middle of the year, which we all discussed and said was fine, since he said he would contribute more to rent, more than half of the rent, so that we can save and be able to pay for the remaining few months when he was gone. He ended up staying past his projected leaving date, and during all this, my fiance got deployed and was not going to be home for 6 months. I was devastated. I had never been away from my partner for longer than maybe a few months prior. I became extremely depressed and developed a drinking habit which I have since gotten over since he is back home. I understand how I acted at that time was not the best, but I was working full time and doing overtime at this time due to one of my coworkers leaving, and still trying to maintain composure in the work area and with friends. I didn't want them to know how deeply I was struggling. My partner was deployed during the holiday season, so as much as I could, I surrounded myself with friends. During Thanksgiving, I made a meal for my friends, and we had a great Friendsgiving and had drinks together. I cleaned up what I could that night, being wasted, and then went to bed. The next day, Neil started calling and texted me, telling me I needed to clean my mess in the kitchen. I told him to give me some time as I'm still a little hungover, but I would clean it, which I did. However, I did not like him telling me to clean it up before I was even awake to clean my mess. He had never done anything like this prior to my fiancé leaving, and it felt wildly out of character. This happened again on Christmas. I told him to give me time to clean up before he starts bothering me with this, because more than likely I will clean it. Neil just didn't give me any time to clean before he started telling me to do it on his time.
What time is it, though? Like, as OP admits, they're still a little hungover after a late night partying. Like, what time is it in the day? Is it like 2 p.m. and they need to cook or do things in the kitchen and your stuff is still piled up there? How big is the mess? You said you tried to clean up what you could. What does that mean? Does it just mean you picked up, like, cups and stuff and there's still, like, plates and everything? And then pots are
I have a
washed?
feeling this has to do more with her drinking habits as well. I feel like Neil probably, because, OP even said, like, this time it was bad.
Right.
And I got over it. But I probably wasn't acting the best. So Neil's probably seeing this drinking problem and then attributing it and then feeling like that gives him the green flag to be, like, a little more aggressive about her behavior or her character.
Which is not great.
No, not at all.
Like, I think
It's a power dynamic thing for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the power dynamic though, still it's like, okay, there's a limit to where I think you can give OP grace, but also at some point, I need the kitchen, clean up your stuff. Also, what was his demeanor in saying, hey, you need to clean it? If it's just like, hey, can you clean up your stuff? I need it. Or is it like, you need to clean this right now?
Yeah,
I don't care.
that's
'Cause if
crazy.
it's the second, screw you, Neil.
Yeah.
If it's the first, okay, they're just telling you to clean up your stuff.
Come on, Neil. What are you doing? Yeah, definitely. I wonder if Neil would be saying this if OP's partner was still here.
Probably not, because
Yeah.
OP's partner has already set him straight.
Yeah.
On, like, you don't talk to my fiance like this
Yeah.
to me. So
Exactly. She's trying to power play right now. All right, let's keep going. So he would text me early morning after events when he would be drinking or eating with us as well. I started feeling weird about how he was telling me to do things like I was his partner. Like he could tell me what to do just because my man wasn't around. My fiance agreed since this was never something Neil did prior. He barely spoke to me. At the same time, Neil kept swearing up and down that he would clear out items in the living room he had set up too. He never did, and I never bothered him about it because I understood we were all operating on our times because we live different lifestyles and are up or in bed at different times. So, catching up to recently, Neil and Liam started hanging out, and Neil even brought him inside the house while I was home and my fiance was deployed. I told Liam he needed to leave due to how he left the last situation, and he was not welcome inside the house while I am home. Neil later apologized, and I asked him what made him so comfortable bringing people that blackmailed us into the house. He did not have a response. I left it at that, but ended up blocking his number so that he couldn't speak to me as I was growing increasingly more uncomfortable. Since Neil was directly involved with the situation with Liam, I felt uncomfortable with someone who knew what happened and still offered to bring someone who clearly doesn't appreciate or my fiance into my house. I started stonewalling him and not giving him any more info and keeping things as minimal as possible. It eventually turned into just not talking to him at all. A couple of weeks later, Neil says he's working a deal with the landlord and that he'll be moving out, which I was fine with. I was happy even. I didn't want to be his roommate any longer. The TLDR is that the deal fell through and he could not find a new roommate in time. And now our lease is up, and my fiance and I are moving out, just us, no roommates. Sounds perfect. And by the way, something else that's perfect
is the fact that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to the full archive whenever you want, as long as you have a connection to the internet.
You don't need a roommate's permission or their schedule to do so.
You do not. Congratulations! You have done exactly what I would have suggested to do, which is find a place for you and your fiance to live. Just deal with one guy, your guy, okay?
And also, like, I believe when you're in the military, if you're not staying on base, you get some money for a housing stipend. So that should help you also. So with his salary, if you're both working, you should hopefully be able to find a place that, like, you two can be together and you don't have to worry about, like, the stress of dealing with someone's other schedule or their baggage or whatever.
Yeah. I would say, we don't know the situation with Liam, but it is true. If someone like straight up blackmailed you and Neil knew about it and he just was like going to bring Liam over and it's like, hey, whoa, my arch enemy, you are not welcome in my home. Get out. You're crazy. Why did you do that?
If I took a bag of lawn shrimp and just dumped them on your bed, Dakota.
We've got so many lawn shrimp, guys. So many lawn shrimp. There's actually not that many today, but they just are always here. I don't know where they come from. Anyway, lawn shrimp aside, let's finish the story. He tried to approach me to ask if we were renting or buying. I told him that doesn't matter and left the conversation at that. Neil started telling Sonny, who is close with my fiance, that I told him it doesn't effing matter, painting me as the aggressor. My fiance quickly called him out for that, to which he had no response for his wrongdoings. I recently found out he might be moving back in with his parents since Neil can't find a roommate in time. And I don't feel bad since he needed us to maintain his lifestyle, but was too comfortable with taking from us without giving in return. He never cleaned the kitchen, a shared space. I cleaned the stovetops and cleared off the counters and organized all our stuff so it could fit in the kitchen, and was in charge of cleaning the living room as well. He only cleaned the bathroom, and he only cleaned it when he was bringing girls over. And that is the end of that story.
My mother-in-law mocked our marriage. Now I want her nowhere near our future kids.
Mocked to blocked.
For context, I, 27 female, moved to another country completely alone last year and met my now husband, 25 male, shortly after. We were immediately inseparable, and while I was excited to meet his mom, she was traveling quite a bit at the time. We ended up meeting about 6 months into dating. By the way, this comes from Broad Initiative 965, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. We decided on dinner at hers, and it was a nightmare. I was ecstatic to meet her, but she spent the entire dinner grilling him for choosing this over his possible career in boxing and saying he would get shot during our planned trip to my home country. We ended up cutting the dinner short after sitting through almost an hour of comments like these. Fast forward to our trip. We decided to elope since neither side of our family was in a financial position to travel for a wedding, and his mother literally refuses to get on a plane. We figured eloping would reduce any possible drama. The ceremony was just my husband, myself, and the officiant. We avoided making any posts until all immediate family was informed. My family welcomed my husband with open arms, and his family handled it well too. I felt loved and welcomed by everyone except his mother. Upon returning home, she asked if we could come over to spend time with the family. I wasn't a fan of this idea considering how the dinner had gone, but I pushed myself to go, hoping for the best. It was horrible. While everyone else was excited to hear about the trip and ceremony, she had something else in mind. So I must ask. She goes, "Are you pregnant?" No, I respond with a confused look. Oh, okay, well, I'll let the family know that you guys married because you actually love each other. She then asked if she could be the one to announce our marriage on social media, to which my sister-in-law immediately stepped in saying, no, let them announce it themselves. I was speechless.
$100 trillion on her announcing your wedding on
her own.
We left shortly after, and I told my husband about it since he had been talking to his sister and completely missed what his mother had said. Once I told him, he apologized profusely. We temporarily moved in with her about a month later due to unforeseen circumstances, and it has been like living in heck. She made comments about someone like him choosing someone like me and got wasted one night to express her feelings about us being together. His sister had to step in to tell her she was being rude. I went back to therapy to avoid reaching the point where I want nothing to do with her. My therapist advised we set boundaries, so if we go no contact, she can't say she doesn't know why. We attempted this, and she spent the entire conversation saying things like, "So I'm just supposed to not say anything or not be involved?" When I made it clear our marriage decisions were none of her concern, she responded, "If you're this upset about my behavior, then I'm worried about how it's going to be when you meet the rest of the family. Everyone else has been great. It's literally just her." I also asked if she could not stick her hands in our food, which she has a habit of doing, and I find it disgusting.
Why are we doing that?
A few days after our chat with her, I had just finished cooking and was getting ready to put together plates for my husband and myself, and as I'm doing so, she walked over to the food and in a mocking tone goes, "Can I grab some with my hands, or do I need to use a fork?" I responded, "Please use the fork," which happened to be sitting next to the food. She proceeds to stick her unwashed hands into our food. She let out a giggle and said she only grabbed one. That was it. That was the last straw. It was clearly done to get a reaction out of me, and I made it clear to my husband that I want nothing more to do with her. She's been rude since day one, despite my efforts to have a good relationship with her. I told my husband that once we have kids, there will be a no kissing rule to keep babies safe, and I don't feel she would respect this given her behavior.
Yeah, she'd probably jam her unwashed hands all over the baby.
Yeah, she'd be like, "Well, I'm not supposed to touch the baby."
She'd be like, "I'm going to go into the septic tank, and then I'll take the baby in there and kiss it."
I don't want her to have anything to do with our future kids, given her lack of respect for boundaries. We decided to look for another place to stay rather than see her every day. Smart! Get out of there!
Yep.
You hate her!
It's
Get out of
time!
there! There is an update, but literally just get out of there. Cut contact.
And to be clear, if your hands are washed and clean, they can touch food.
Yeah.
But if you're just got your filthy unwashed mitts shoved into the food,
Gross.
what is wrong with you?
Well, crap finally hit the fan yesterday, and my husband was finally able to see her true colors. Since meeting her, she's always made nasty comments or given me dirty looks when my husband wasn't around. Then she tried to hug me and tell him how lucky he is to have someone as amazing as me whenever he entered the room. It was like something out of a movie. When I'd tell my husband about this, he'd say, "What? Mom literally loves you. Do you see how much she brags about you?" I don't blame him, because she could have won an Oscar for playing the world's fakest witch. It's been months of me mentioning these things while he'd catch glimpses here and there. He hadn't witnessed the extremes I'd been dealing with until yesterday. I'd been praying everything would come to light so he could see how monstrous his mother truly is. I felt like I was starting to sound insane. I knew my husband believed me, but maybe thought I was exaggerating from being uncomfortable. But I'm no stranger to being out of my comfort zone. I've solo traveled the world, so being in a house with a 50-something-year-old woman would be a walk in the park if she were normal. My husband and she had a chat yesterday, mostly her venting about wanting to focus on herself and her artwork now that her kids are adults. Her hobbies are watching TikTok videos and making artwork out of garbage.
Well, that could be cool, but
Sure.
I don't know.
Recycling, I suppose?
I think that turning garbage into art is a good way to recycle.
Yeah. She lives on government assistance and sits at home 24/7, which is why she has time to worry about everyone else's lives. My husband said he thought it was a great idea for her to focus on herself. They talked about how everyone is getting married or engaged. And during this, my husband said how I am his priority and how he's looking forward to building a family with me. Any sane person would have taken this as a newly married man looking forward to having kids with his wife, but she's far from sane. She responds defensively, "Yeah, but don't forget that you have an actual family."
Oh, shut up, woman.
"Leave us alone." To which he responds, "Yeah, of course, that's never going to change, but I also have a wife who is a part of that family now as well." We left the house shortly after as we had a few errands to run and needed to grab lunch. Once we returned, my husband started taking things inside. Before I had a chance to get out of the car, I received a rapid thread of messages from him asking me to stay in the car because he was talking with his mom. This alone was enough to let me know that something was wrong. About 15 to 20 minutes later, he comes out of the house. I could tell he was furious, and given that he is a hands down one of the hardest people to upset,
I knew things had gotten bad. He gets into the car and says, "We're moving today. This is ridiculous." His mom told him, "We've been extremely disrespectful, especially your wife." He asked what she was talking about, since neither of us have ever said anything rude to her. "Your wife doesn't bother to have conversations with me." To which he explained that I've decided to limit socializing with her since she purposely oversteps boundaries after she mocked me and put her dirty hands in our food after being told no. I told my husband that for my own sanity, I felt it was best not to socialize with her because her actions were clearly intentional. My husband was very supportive since he was starting to see what I'd been bringing up for months. She found it very disrespectful that his new wife wasn't attempting to get to know her, when in reality, I've exhausted every attempt at bonding with her, only to be met with rude comments each time. I pushed myself beyond my limits because I knew my husband would love for us to have a good relationship, but he was seeing she's the source of all the drama. She became increasingly irate, yelling and insisting he tell me to come inside to talk to her. He said no, letting her know we wouldn't have a conversation unless she calmed down, and that I've made my decision to keep my distance until we found a place. By the grace of God, we made some calls and found a place within minutes. We went into the house without speaking to her, just packing our things. We dropped our first load at the new house and went back for our second. We walked in to find her calling any family willing to listen, telling them that she doesn't welcome me into the family because we didn't ask for her blessings. Full offense. I don't need approval from someone who has multiple kids, no record of any stable relationship, and who happens to be a self-absorbed, heavy drinker, judgmental witch. She spewed lies about me, my husband, and our marriage right in front of us. We're both fuming, but we know she's hoping for a reaction, and we're not giving her the satisfaction. We finish packing the car with our things, and he apologizes to me, letting me know that he finally sees her true colors. He hands me his phone as we're driving off and asks me to block her on everything and to remove him from all of the family group chats that she's in. I do so, which puts his siblings and family in the chat on alert. Messages start flooding in right away with everyone calling to see if we're okay. We fill them in on the situation and they apologize profusely, letting me know that they not only completely welcome me into the family, but also love having me as a new part of the family. They were devastated to hear what we had experienced, but even more upset that I had been subjected to it for months. We returned today to grab the remainder of our things as we were both too mentally and physically exhausted to finish yesterday. We didn't speak a word to her. She apparently made a comment to my husband. What a disappointing outcome that was. To which he ignored her and continued to pack the car.
I would do like the the soccer chant when they clap and go ole 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 ole. I would just be aggressively
strange.
Strange.
She also stood in the doorway watching me as I packed the car. I guess as a way to try to intimidate me, but it really just gave off I belong in a psych ward vibes. And by the way, the vibes you should be giving off are the ones where you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. We've pretty much settled into the new place, and we've both completely cut contact with her. I've made it very clear to my husband that even if he decides to forgive her in the future, I want nothing else to do with her, and she will never meet our future kids. Heck, I was worried about our plants being in the same house with her. There's no way I'd ever trust her around my kids. I also want to mention that we're only 3 months into being married, and I don't feel like we ever really got a chance to honeymoon because we've spent almost every day since then playing peacekeepers. I also found out that she had a falling out with her daughter because of similar reasons, and that she and her partner have also cut contact due to mother-in-law being extremely disrespectful to them. She apparently feels that she should be their first and main priority, which I assume is what triggered her when she was speaking with my husband. We're over their BS and are really just looking forward to enjoying our time together without a gremlin witch heckling down our necks 24/7. And that's the end of that story, folks.
The gremlin witch is gone. She has been sent back to her hole.
My family ghosted me during a Vegas trip, so I cut them all off. For some background, I, 45 female, come from a large family. I'm number 5 of 6 kids. My parents are long divorced but amicable. My dad lives out of state but has plans to move back near the rest of the family as he's getting older and has health issues. My mother, 75 female, lives in the same city as me and has always relied on me heavily for help. I live the closest to her and have always made myself available when she needs anything. By the way, this comes from Misunderstood59, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my siblings are not the most reliable and have bled my parents dry, constantly relying on them for support. I consider myself the most consistently stable. OP's like, I don't want to brag, but
Extremely
so
stable.
stable.
Can't knock me over with a bucket of water.
Since childhood, I've been extremely self-sufficient, working multiple jobs my whole life. My oldest sister, Alyssa, passed away at 35 years old, leaving behind 2 kids. I was 25 at the time of her passing. We were very close in the years leading up to her passing. My sister, Cara, 55 female, is the second oldest. Cara is a successful nurse who is divorced and loves to drink, but she's self-sufficient. Number 3 was my brother Raleigh, who also passed away already when he was 42 years old. This is so tragic.
Genuinely, like, condolences.
Yeah, to lose your siblings at such a young age. Number 4 is my brother Bobby, 49 male, who has been a severe user his entire life. Like I said earlier, I'm number 5. I'm married with 2 teenagers. Number 6 is my sister Marie, 40 female. She has struggled most of her life with regular use as well. I think the last count on her rehab stays is around 40. I try and stay supportive. Don't quit. We all have kids. Me and Cara were the only ones to raise our kids. Both my parents have taken in grandkids to raise with little to no help from their parents. My mother, in her retirement years, is currently raising the youngest grandchild, Marie's 9-year-old son. Wow. I am not a perfect person, but I've spent my life striving to be better. I work hard to have nice things. I try to be an example to my kids and show them the right path. I've tried to rise above the stigma that my family is full of addicts and thieves. Which brings me to my breaking point. Over the last few years, I have tried to be closer to my family. We get together for birthday dinners and holidays and just generally try to be there more for each other. I like to say the family can still put the fun in dysfunctional. Yeah. That's the attitude.
That is the attitude you have to take.
Absolutely.
I feel like the only people saying that
Yeah.
are either like fully it's not dysfunctional
Yeah,
at
they're
all.
like, "Oh,
like
we're
somebody like, oh my
crazy."
god, sorry, we're so crazy. We put the fun in dysfunctional. Or it's like you are gripping
Yeah.
onto any
Yeah.
strength is going to be
They're like tumbling through the
well,
water and they've got a hand on
we
like a
put
piece
the
of
fun in
wood.
dysfunctional.
Literally. Over the past few years, me and Cara have grown quite close. We were not close in my younger years. We've traveled together and been closer now more than ever. Me and Marie have had our ups and downs as she lived with Dad after the divorce and lived out of state for years. Now, for the current situation. My family has spent the last year planning a trip to Vegas for my oldest nephew's wedding, Alyssa's son. It was me, my husband, my mother, both sisters, and a few of my nieces and their significant others. In total, between both families and a few friends, there were 25 of us who traveled there. We were scattered around at different hotels. That's a lot of people to go to
That's-
like one thing with.
That's so like
To plan like to coordinate a trip is tricky.
yeah. And truly, even without any of the
Yeah.
other context of this
It's
story,
also hard.
this Reddit story could have been just about planning a 25-person trip,
And I'd be
I'm
like,
sure it would have
"Dang."
been insane.
We were scattered around at different hotels. Some of us made plans to go to shows. I made a few plans during free time before and after the wedding, but I was clear about what I was doing and when, if anyone wanted to tag along. It was hard to keep everyone in the loop, even though we had a group chat. I tried multiple times to join in with others, but was met with vague answers and never given details.
Yup.
Dang. Even after hearing groups talking about things they were planning. That's just like 25-person trip though. I don't think this
that's
should
a
necessarily
5-person trip.
Yes. I've been on a 10-person trip and like it was like a week-long trip and that was tough.
Trying to get 5 people on the same
Yeah.
page about anything and then multiply that by
Yeah.
5.
It's tricky. Some met at another's Airbnb for swimming and drinking. I asked for the address to go join them, but conveniently never got the info. Pre-wedding, Friday, I had tickets to a show at the Sphere. Cool. Which was a bit pricey and kept anyone from wanting to join. The rest of the wedding day went off without a hitch. We all gathered to watch my nephew and his beautiful bride get married. Then everyone got on a party bus to take us around Vegas for all the fun, And fun it was. Everyone was drinking and dancing. It was all around a great day. The next morning, Saturday, I had planned to drive out to see the Hoover Dam for a little sightseeing. My mom, Cara, and a niece and her fiance joined me and my husband. The only other set plan we had for the trip was getting together for dinner that night. We had reservations at a pricey buffet. I don't think buffets should be pricey.
It is a fun little oxymoron, huh?
I feel like if you're serving yourself, shouldn't be pricey. Sue me.
I bet we could find it.
Yeah.
A
Look
pricey
Vegas
buffet.
yeah.
Vegas. I said Vegas. Las Vegas pricey buffet.
Pricey buffet. Due to the number of people, we ended up having to split between 3 tables. I originally was at the largest of the 3. After we started taking seats, my sister Cara became agitated as there wasn't a seat for her. I offered to move to a further table. It was the farthest from the rest of the group and had a frosted glass wall separating us.
Also, can I just say, I hate going to restaurants as like big groups.
It's tough.
It's kind
It's
of
tough.
a nightmare.
Everyone's talking. You're all
Yeah.
trying, and then the waiter comes up. It's like, what? Well, I guess they don't have to deal with the waiter because it's a buffet.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's
why
something.
Maybe you're paying for the convenience.
Yeah. Dinner seemed to be going okay. We passed each other in the buffet line and made food suggestions for others to try. We would pass by the bigger group at tables right next to each other and check in. My husband at one point was at their table and tried to ask about after dinner plans, but was met with blank stares. I didn't know about that until later. Somewhere around the time we were thinking of moving to dessert, my nephew, the groom, said he was having a bathroom emergency and had to head up to his room for a bit and said goodbye. Everyone else was still there working on dessert. It didn't seem like too much more time had passed when my new niece, the bride, came over to say she was tired from all the last few days' activities and was heading up to join her new husband for some rest. I mentioned I was going to head over to the other table to get with the family to see what's next for the night. The bride got wide eyes and uncomfortable look on her face and said, "They're gone." I simply laughed. Then I looked around the frosted glass wall and sure as heck, it was empty. All gone. Not a single goodbye from anyone. And now it's a ghost story.
Yeah. Ooh, that
They're
would be
all
exciting.
gone. Not knowing what else to do, me and my husband left and headed back to the room. I was dumbfounded, pissed off, and hurt. The next few hours, I started seeing the details through various social media and the family chat. Everyone was off together, drinking, taking pics, sending snaps, and even making TikToks of the group going for tattoos. #tattoos with Nana. Your family's crazy. Your family is crazy.
You know what? Like, I understand your feelings being hurt and stuff like
I
that.
didn't get to go for tattoos with Nana.
But at the same time, maybe be grateful that you didn't
I don't
go
know if I'd
to
want
tattoos with
yeah.
Nana.
I don't know if I need to go to that. They were in Vegas party mode and left me behind without a word. My husband saw my hurt and disappointment and took me to gamble a bit to cheer me up. Hey, sweetie,
Thanks,
let's
hubby.
go gamble. Let's do some money. I enjoy some slot time. He generally does not. I was upset at seeing everyone out together, so I did the only thing I could do. I simply removed myself from the group chat. I said nothing else to anyone. I didn't curse anyone out or ask why I was excluded. I didn't want to take what was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime family trip and wedding and cause any drama for the newlyweds. The next day, Sunday, we were all traveling home. I got a call from the bride and groom thanking us for traveling out to be there for them, and they wished us safe travels home. We made it back home later Sunday night. I was extremely disappointed with how things ended in Vegas, but kept my thoughts about everything between me and my husband.
Well, and you have to,
And you
because what
gotta.
happens in Vegas does stay in Vegas. So
Yeah.
actually, you have lost your opportunity to ever speak about it. Frankly, we shouldn't be reading
We shouldn't
this
even be
Reddit story.
talking about it. Sometime Tuesday, my mother attempted to call me. I wasn't ready to speak to her. She proceeded to text me asking me to call her. I couldn't resist and replied with, "Oh, you remember I exist? You must need something."
Kind of a slay.
Yeah, he's
A
like
little
sitting
bit
there
of a
crying, like,
slay.
"Oh, you remember I exist," which opened the floodgates for me. I said every thought on my mind about feeling excluded and my hurt feelings. I was told I was being too sensitive and this isn't like you, amongst her many, many excuses. It was emotionally draining. I simply stopped responding. By the way, you can respond to us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime and leave a comment in response. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
I actually don't know what to do other
Yeah.
than, I think just live your life.
Just live your life.
We can have conversations about it and stuff like that, but
They have tattoos with Nana.
They
like,
got
that's-
tattoos with Nana. You don't have a tattoo. I honestly don't even know if they were necessarily purposely excluding you. It feels like they weren't. You weren't like maybe worse. It feels like they didn't even consider you at all.
The bride did seem kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
I
We don't know.
I feel like just don't put an effort where you're not seeing effort reciprocated is kind of the moral of the story.
Very well said.
Wednesday brought a slew of texts from Marie again with excuses and this isn't like you. Probably because I've always taken the backseat to all their needs and feelings basically my whole life. Marie couldn't understand how I was feeling. I got angry and simply stated I was done with being an afterthought. She asked if I was really breaking up with my family. It was a simple yes. I have spent all my life being the one no one had to worry about. I was hardworking, moved out at a young age, and have been self-sufficient. I never asked for help. My parents both struggle in their retirement years after spending everything they had supporting my siblings or raising their kids. They have made me feel like the black sheep for having my crap together. Am I the a-hole for deciding to go no contact and cut those out of my life, for ghosting me without a second thought? And that is the end of that story.
My husband pretended to spoil me, but my siblings were the ones paying.
Oh my gosh.
My husband, let's call him Nate, and I have been together for 10 years and married for 4. We've been having a rough couple years, and basically everyone I'm close to is telling me to get divorced. We've known each other since we were 14 and 15. We were best friends first and started dating near the end of high school. By the way, this comes from JJ Reynolds 3, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, everything was great. He treated me amazingly, always with respect. We went on dates frequently, bought each other gifts, and took many vacations together. When we first got engaged, things were rough, but we spent many nights having long discussions and worked through the issues. However, over the last couple of years, we've been having a hard time. Nate lost his job in 2022, and I think this set us on a collision course. Ever since then, he's had a hard time keeping a job. He frequently goes to temp agencies for in-between periods, but this has never been a problem for me since he tries his best to make sure bills are paid. He always blames the jobs, but I have a hard time believing he's been through about 15 jobs since 2022, and every single one is the problem.
15. I want to know all the jobs.
That's
Yeah, right?
crazy. Maybe some of them, but not all of them. Anytime I try to talk about it, he tells me not to worry and that he'll always find a new job. So I've tried to stay out of it and let him figure it out. As a result, we rarely go out anymore. I could pay for us myself, but he's expressed that it makes him feel bad when I'm always paying. We celebrate our birthdays and anniversary, and that's it. I've genuinely been okay with this because I understand we're going through something, but my family tends to make me feel bad. I'm very close with them, and they love to insert their opinions even when not asked. They love to comment on how he never gets me gifts anymore, doesn't compliment me as much, and doesn't show up to family gatherings. So much so that I've started lying about things I've bought for myself, telling them he got them for me just to get them to shut up. If he doesn't come to something, I just tell them he's at work. The divorce comments started coming in last year when I had car trouble. My engine went out, I still had 4 months left on my loan, and interest rates were insane. I couldn't afford a new car while taking care of so much of the bills at home. I tried talking to different mechanics, but the lowest estimate was $9,000, which seemed like a lost cause. I ended up getting my dad's help for a new car. He put $5,000 down, and this shook my family. The main question was, why didn't Nate help? I wasn't about to tell them he couldn't afford it, so I did my best to dodge the questions, but the damage was done. Now they tell me I need to divorce him any chance they get. Over the past year, I've been able to get Nate back at family gatherings, but they've all ended with him being super wasted. Nate doesn't know when to stop. I know this about him. I try my best to cut him off, but I'm his wife, not his babysitter. I've asked him over and over not to drink at these functions, or if he must, to only have one. He tells me it's fine, he's an adult and knows when to stop. He doesn't. This has resulted in a lot of embarrassing nights for me and just adds to their list of reasons to leave him. My family has never seen a healthy marriage. I have never seen a healthy marriage, at least not outside of a TV show. Any family that's married, they're all bitter and cheating on each other. I can't really take advice from this. I believe you don't get into a marriage just to jump ship as soon as things get hard. We're just going through something and we have to work on it together. However, recently I've started questioning this, and I'm not sure if this is the right stance. My cousin passed recently, and her funeral was this past week. I was and still am devastated. Nate doesn't understand why. My cousin and I weren't on speaking terms, and he doesn't get why I would be so upset since we weren't even talking. At the funeral, he sat with me but didn't speak the entire time, not even to comfort me. I have no idea who he was that day, but this was not the man I married. It was like having rose-colored glasses taken off, and now I'm questioning everything. Now I'm starting to feel like my family may have been right all along, and I've been too naive to see it. I can't go to any of them about it because I already know what they're going to say. I feel very alone right now. Where do I even go from here? And we have an update. And it looks like we are getting some backstory into his job stuff.
Okay, cool. That would be important. I feel like usually she's caught in the middle with two very different opinions. You know, she wants to stay with her marriage, but then she also is like getting all this info and
pressure
opinions.
and stuff,
Pressure from the family. So I feel like you really just need to take some time to just don't talk about it with anyone. Like not even your husband, not your sisters. Like just be alone, journal about it so that you can actually get your thoughts out and together.
Journal.
And then you have to make a decision on your own. But it can be hard when there's so much noise from everyone else.
Yeah. Agreed. Update. Nate was a mixture of fired and quit from jobs. He was usually fired for attendance, the reasons being headaches or feeling sick. This was truly unrelated to drinking. If he quit, it was for various reasons, but mainly having issues with management. The drinking started in March of this year and is not daily, not even weekly. However, my main issue is getting blackout when he does drink. This isn't exclusive to family gatherings, but the embarrassing things usually happen in these cases. Embarrassing being the way he speaks to me. We've discussed it many times, and it's always met with resistance. I've definitely been in denial about this being an issue, and the overwhelming comments have removed that denial. I have regular users in my family who drink morning to night, and he doesn't, so I thought I was being paranoid about the issue. Many people said I don't defend him to my family, and that's why he doesn't come to the gatherings. I have defended them. They never say this in front of him, only to me. They don't treat him differently or isolate him. I don't just let them talk crap, but this usually results in us talking in circles and me feeling terrible. No, I have never told him what they're saying. I'm in therapy solo, but it's new, so we hadn't gotten into my marriage at the time. This was honestly eating away at me since the funeral. We have conversations about our marriage where he promises to do better, and he does for a while, and then he just stops. Now for the update. I ended up turning my therapy session into a 2-hour session.
Wow.
Obviously, one long session isn't a fix-all, but it definitely helped me come to some realizations.
Good.
I felt like if I gave up, this would be a failure. I didn't get married to get divorced. I thought I would be spending forever with him, and I've definitely been trying to keep floating a sinking ship. My therapist says I'm a people pleaser, and honestly, after everything we've talked about, yeah, that tracks. As for Nate, he's on thin ice with his current job, go figure. Even knowing this, he still didn't go to work one day last week because he had a headache. No, this wasn't a hangover. I start work 2 hours before him, so I didn't know he stayed home until I got home. I snapped. I told him he doesn't get to skip out on work every time he has a headache. especially when he's already on multiple attendance warnings. I get frequent migraines, and I don't skip work unless it's literally one that makes me super dizzy. I take something for it and get to work because we're adults with responsibilities and can't skip work every single time we feel bad. He told me I was overreacting, and I told him of course he would see it that way because I sit back and let him do whatever he wants all the time. Maybe I did overreact. Maybe he did have a bad headache. Either way, I left to my sister's house to cool off. I broke down, crying to her and telling her everything. To my surprise, my brother and sister have secretly been giving him money to take me on dates for my birthday and our anniversary ever since he first lost his job. 3 years then of that.
Wow.
My sister even paid his portion for 2 family vacations we took. I wasn't going to go on either because I couldn't afford to pay for both of us, but my sister said she could tell how sad I was about it. They both knew how badly I was trying to make it work and were trying to help. I called my brother and made him come over too. I thought they would give me I told you so's or rub salt in the wound, but they were very supportive.
Aw.
I ended up staying with my sister a couple of nights and returning home Friday night. I told Nate we needed to have a serious conversation. I laid out everything I was feeling. I cried and begged him to go to therapy. If not couples therapy, at least solo. He refused. He says therapy's a waste of time and money, just paying someone to talk to you. He says we don't need anyone in our business like that and we can deal with it ourselves. I told him obviously we can't, and having an outside, unbiased opinion may help us understand each other better and be good for our future. He refused. He really doesn't see how all of this is affecting me. I did get him to open up the slightest bit about what's going on in his head. In short, he thinks the world owes him something. When he first lost his job, he went to his parents for help. They refused. He was going on and on about how his dad left his mom for half his life before they got back together, and he needed to make up for it. I told him he's not a child anymore. He's an adult. His parents don't owe him anything. He said it's the least they could do. We barely even touched the money and bills topic, as usual, as this led to yelling and things were getting heated.
The least his parents can do?
Yeah.
Brother.
Weird.
Brother,
dude.
you're a grown butt man.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Go to your job, dude. I addressed him taking money from my siblings to pay for dates and vacations, and he said, "Why does it matter where the money comes from?
What a
You want to go
loser.
out, and I made it happen."
What a
Okay.
loser.
Yeah, cool. It lines up so perfectly with his idea towards jobs and stuff like that. He's like, I don't need a job. Like, the money will come from somewhere, from all the people around me.
Yeah.
It also is so telling. Like, I thought that when with the title, I thought it meant his siblings, but the fact that it's her siblings,
which is crazy.
yeah, like no wonder they were so mad about him not having money. They were like, "Yo, you got a
Dude,
divorce."
I've been giving you money for 3 years.
Yeah, they knew like the full extent of it,
I'm like-
even more than she did.
I don't know why, but like, why didn't, like, for 3 years, if my sibling was asking me for money 24/7 and like, oh, I'm using it to like, treat my partner,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, what?
Yeah, like
I'd
don't
be
you
like,
you
huh?
should love your
Laugh in
sister?
her face.
Yeah, right.
I'm just
Crazy.
like, I'll do it maybe one time. Like, yeah, here's a treat. Have fun. Go out. But for 3 years straight,
Yeah,
I'm laughing in their face.
He told me all I care about is money, that his love and loyalty are never enough. But by the way, we always have enough episodes with stories just like this for you guys to listen to. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app. Search up OK Storytime. We've got a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little spoiler there, but
Oh no. And Toria Bumgarner says, "Okay, this little Willy man annoys me. I'm gonna need to teach him some stuff. Sign language to the face."
yeah. He's
Yeah.
fully just like, yeah, everyone else, like, the world owes me, like, all this
Yeah.
money. Like,
I've
done so
I
much for the
shouldn't have to
world.
work
I've done so much
Right.
ever
good.
again.
Yeah.
He's like, it doesn't need to be like an income from me. It's like everyone helps out everyone, right, guys? Right?
Yeah.
I'll help you like with my presence. That's
Yeah.
it.
I like that her family, though, truly was just like, hey, we're not going to give you an I told you so. We are here for you. What do you need?
Yeah.
You're seeing what we're seeing now.
Right,
Like,
and the fact-
let's get you out.
Yeah, and like the fact that like even with the money stuff, when she was first hearing that from them, they were coming out of it from what they knew about it and telling her to divorce him, but like the fact that they really knew what was going on and they were helping, because they wanted them to be together, so they weren't just like immediately coming with anger, but then they still they were just handling it very well throughout the whole thing.
Exactly.
Very nice.
We have a little bit left. We're separating for now. I was going to let him stay in our house, but I changed my mind.
Woohoo!
I honestly don't trust him to keep up with any of the bills or cleaning. We rent our house, and the lease isn't up until May. So I'll be staying there and taking care of everything as usual. He's staying with his family for now. I still didn't jump straight to divorce, as I'm trying to get through to him. Despite all of that, I still love him very much and wish things were different. I'm hoping this separation inspires change, but I gave him until our lease is up to show me with actions. Honestly, with his track record, I'm not holding my breath, but it's tearing a hole in my chest just thinking about filing for divorce. Any advice for fixing a broken heart? LOL, but kind of serious. And that is the end of that story.
My husband co-signed a $1 million home loan for his family without telling me.
That's your ex-husband now.
My husband, 38 male, and I, 39 female, have been happily married for a little over 2 years. We own a home and do quite well for ourselves financially. He generally maintains the finances for our family. My husband's mother and sister live a few hours away, and I have always felt they were very awful towards him. They speak down to him, disrespect him, and essentially make him feel as if it's his responsibility to clean up their messes, financial mishaps, and poor choices. By the way, this comes from user QueenSheet14, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give you good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. And OP says, now, on to the am I the a-hole part. My husband's sister and mother have been renting a home from another family member, well under market value, at least $3,000 less than what it would rent for now. The owner/family member has decided to sell this home. Mind you, it has been trashed and not maintained by the sister and mother. They have little to no respect for the fact that they have had it so good for so long. The owner gave them 90 days to vacate the premises. Immediately, the sister and mother began asking my husband to help them buy a home. They live and work in one of the most expensive housing markets in the U.S. Additionally, they do not qualify for the type and amount of loan they would need to even buy a modest home in the area, and they refuse to move to a more affordable area that will accept a lower credit score without any major assets, etc., blah, 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 blah.
You know what I do there? I tell my husband, don't help them. If they're really going to be this stubborn, that's not your responsibility. That's their problem to figure out. Sorry, you can give them references, you can try and help in that way, but you are not doing much more than that.
Yep. After a lot of back and forth, they finally asked my husband to co-sign on a very basic older home that costs $1 million. My immediate reaction was to tell them absolutely not, and I voiced my concerns to my husband. He is usually very level-headed and financially savvy, but I had to be the one to push him and his family for some sort of plan of how this would all work. To go from paying $1,000 a month in rent to well over $6,000 a month on a mortgage, not even including bills, seems questionable at best and a terrible decision at worst. I asked my husband why they can't move into a modest apartment and make a plan to buy in a year or two, but he didn't really have an answer. He agreed that they absolutely need a plan in order for him to engage. Again, after several weeks of back and forth with his family, they had yet to provide any solid plan on how they would pay the mortgage and the bills and avoid default. Who would be responsible for repairs? No idea. Finally, last week, before I left for a work trip, my husband told me he would not be co-signing on the home and that they had done zero planning. Did he now? Real interesting.
I'm excited to see what happens next.
And I guess that's the end of the story.
And they lived happily ever after.
Oh, wait. We have more. I was so relieved and was able to relax on my trip. Well, I returned home at the end of the week and was taking a shower when he walked in and told me he co-signed for the home. To say I was taken aback is an understatement. I went through all the range of emotions in a short amount of time, but it wasn't until the next morning that what he had done really hit me. He chose to make a risky investment with people who didn't respect him and did it behind my back after assuring me he wouldn't. He kept trying to tell me I was safe from any potential impact, but I don't understand how that could be. Yeah, because it's not true. As soon as these people stop paying for this house, which they will do, all of that responsibility falls upon your husband.
And guess what? That's going to come to you, too. Your hubby's going to be like, oh, man, OP, I'm stressed. Can you lend me some money?
Yeah, I mean, last time I checked, he's your freaking husband. So that does relate to you.
Uh-oh.
I asked him to walk me through the conversation and the plans and any assurance that our own assets were safe. He couldn't. He then had the audacity to tell me, at least I decided to tell you.
Shut up. You literally...
That's when I lost it. I felt absolutely betrayed and disrespected. I cried and screamed and told him how he can't see how they use him. I told him I was questioning his integrity and our relationship. We are also in the midst of the IVF process, and it's been extremely hard on me and my body. I told him I didn't think he deserved to be the father of my children, and if we did have them, his family would have limited contact and not be allowed around them. There are other incidents of how they have treated me with such disrespect that even I have distanced myself from them. That is also another reason why my husband decided for us to move away from them. Back to the subject at hand. At first, he was remorseful, but then he got defensive for his family, even though myself and many others have tried to show him how harmful they are. I told him if he wanted any chance of making our relationship right, he was to immediately work with his mother and sister to write a contract that he had majority ownership in the home, so that if they continued to make poor decisions and default, he could sell the house. Well, to no one's surprise, his family wouldn't agree to these terms because they believe living there is enough to solidify it's theirs.
Are they stupid?
No, but your husband certainly is. These people are smart enough to know that they could sucker your husband into giving them basically a free house. Because guess what? They don't have to pay for anything. If they don't, guess who's responsible?
Hubby.
Right. For the last 3 days, I've asked over and over again why he made this drastic decision without a plan. My friends agree that this is a divorce-worthy offense, but the reality is besides this, we have a wonderful life together, and I love him dearly. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for calling my husband stupid and threatening divorce over co-signing the loan? Some additional details for anyone interested. His sister is actually older. He has managed to keep his financial success fairly well hidden from his family, but due to the co-sign process, they now know exactly what assets he has, and I'm certain they will expect more from him. And by the way, you can always listen to more full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you have millions and millions of what feel like stories to listen to.
Yes. That.
You're
You're not the a-hole.
No, you're not.
Especially when he said straight to your face that I'm not going to co-sign. Don't worry about it, Bubba. You go on. I'll go do this. You go do that. You come back home. And he's like, so, I co-sign.
Yeah, funny story, actually.
You're going to love this. You're going to think it's really funny.
Yeah, this weird thing happened. So I kind of might have signed $1 million loan.
Especially...
$1 million loan!
Yeah, especially with how his family treats them. I know for a fact they were just like guilt-tripping him, like, oh, you don't do anything for this family, yada, yada, yada. And he was just like, I gotta, cowboy up for them.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
He's a victim of his own family, and then you are a victim of his victimization.
Of his own family.
Yeah.
Make that
you guys are about to have a baby. You know what would come in a lot of handy when you have a baby? $1 million.
Man, it's a familyception over here.
Crazy. Let's finish this story. Before asking my husband to co-sign, they didn't even attempt to take out the loan for the home on their own. I assume they expect that having him on the loan will give them carte blanche on destroying the home or defaulting on the loan because he will pay in order not to mess up his own credit and assets. His family doesn't care for me and are likely jealous of the life I have with my husband and how they get less from him. Though my husband maintains the finances, we bring in roughly the same income, so this is not a case of my husband having full control over financial choices. Am I the a-hole? Again, no. And we
No.
have some comments.
Read those comments.
Number 1, no, not the a-hole. He has just committed you and your family, consisting right now of you and your husband, to $1 million debt in an asset he has absolutely no ownership stake in. This is not an investment. It's assuming the responsibility of paying for their house. It is grossly irresponsible on his part, and here is the worst part. Your husband has incurred a debt. In many states, California and New York included, and I'm assuming from the description, the home and therefore the debt is in California or New York, debt is a community property. If you go out and finance a car, your husband is responsible for half that debt, whether he signed on the dotted line or not. Put another way, if your husband were to suddenly pass away tomorrow, you would still be on the hook for that mortgage. This was an historically bad decision on his part. You need to be contacting an attorney to protect yourself, to say absolutely nothing of any community property assets you and your husband own. In the event of a divorce, barring an incredibly generous act from your husband, your combined net worth just effectively declined by $1 million, unless he accepts full and unconditional responsibility for the debt during your divorce proceedings. He royally forked you both with this. A reply says, and she needs at least $1 million life insurance policy on him. That's not a joke. She needs to do that immediately, like as in within the next few days. Divorce takes time. If he passes away before they get divorced, she could be facing massive issues. OP should probably go with $2 million minimum. Husband needs to pay for it until the divorce is completed and take all debt liability during the divorce. Hopefully he doesn't grow a spine during the divorce proceedings. They absolutely will default on the loan. Husband absolutely will be on the hook for an asset he has no ownership of. And there is another comment here. I think you'd be justified in divorcing him over this. It's as bad as cheating. In some ways, honestly, it's worse. He has completely broken your trust and needs to earn it back if you are even inclined to give him the opportunity.
You only get one shot.
And that is the end of that story. And I agree. $1 million? $1 million? And just him saying, you're lucky I told you?
Yeah.
That would be the thing. That would be the final nail.
I'm already over the edge, but that's him like laughing at you over the edge.
And we're about to have a kid. We're trying for a kid. We're trying to do IVF, which is already expensive, and then we have to raise a child. And these people are, and it's not like, it's like, well, it's not very likely that this is going to happen. It's a small amount of risk, but still $1 million worth of risk. These people just thrashed a house so heavy.
Bingo.
It sounds like their relative was like, I'm selling it just so you have to leave.
Your husband's an idiot.
My roommate refused to clean and blamed me for the mess.
Get out of this house!
I, 29 male, have been living with a longtime friend, 28 male, for a little over a year now. And we had lived together for around 3 years prior with no issue other than with the other people who lived in the house. Now let's get to my current living situation. By the way, this comes from the B Legion, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I told him when we moved in that I was fine with cleaning the apartment once a week, minus his room, of course, as long as he cleaned up after himself, which he agreed with. Almost immediately, he started complaining to our mutual friends that I was cleaning out of spite and began leaving dirty dishes and trash all over the apartment. I had to talk with him again to ensure him that when I said I would clean the apartment every week, it was because I enjoy cleaning, which I very much do. But if he could get better at cleaning up after himself, I would appreciate it. Later that night, he called one of our mutual friends and told him he couldn't live with me, that I am crazy about how clean I want the house, and he all but gave up cleaning up after himself.
Oh my god.
Sophia's like malfunctioning.
I don't even, like, what?
Before he would order food and leave all the trash on the living room table, and dishes would go uncleaned for at least 3 days and would not get put away once cleaned. He would constantly leave his shoes in front of the door instead of picking them up and putting them on the shoe rack less than a foot away. It got so bad after we talked that I told him I would not be re-signing the lease because I couldn't eat without having to clean up after him. For 6 months, he got better, and I decided I would stay and get a dog. Well, after having to talk with him again because he would lock my dog out of my room where his crate was when I wasn't home, he said he did it because my dog didn't like him and his then boyfriend. The puppy had just gotten home a week before. He told me that the dog needed to like him if he was going to live with him. My dog wouldn't leave my room without me for 2 months after the week his boyfriend spent at the house. Now he doesn't care about anything. My roommate will cook, drop stuff on the floor like peppers and onions, and not clean them up. He leaves dirty dishes on the coffee table in the living room. We don't have a table to eat at because my roommate believes it would ruin the flow of the apartment.
Why are we living with this guy?
Today is my cleaning day. The sink is full of dishes from his 2 days off. The dishwasher was run half full, and his shoes are on the floor in front of the closet with the shoe rack. All this dude does is complain that either I want the apartment crazy cleaned constantly, or he complains if I don't clean up after him. I stopped using the dishwasher for a week after the 4th day of him emptying it twice. He left a note that said clean on it, and I could hear him on the phone with his friend complaining that he's had to empty the dishwasher like 3 times this week. So Reddit, am I the bad roommate here? Update, I, 29 male, have posted about my roommate, 28 male, here before, so I'm not going to bring up everything again, but I need to vent about my 2 days off because I'm going to explode. I planned for about a month to clean the carpets. I talked to my roommate Jeff and asked him if he could give me half the cost for the rentals if I did the work, which he agreed to. I told him I'd do his room as well if he took everything off the floor because I knew it would add maybe 20 minutes of work for me. Big whoop. He said he would appreciate that, so I planned on cleaning the apartment and the rugs in one big day of cleaning. I came home Sunday night, the day before I was going to clean the apartment, and the sink was full of dishes. He had dry dishes that were not clean and had been sitting on the drying rack for the entire week. He ran the dishwasher with it being less than half full, so he wouldn't have to finish his dishes or put the dishwasher away because, running it is half the work. The stovetop was covered in dirty pans with a small layer of water trick every lazy butt uses. Now here I am Tuesday night, my last day off, and all I have to do is laundry. But I can't because someone, 100% my roommate, put a load in our building's shared washing machine at 9 a.m. It is currently 8:30 p.m. and they are still in the washing machine.
And that's
dude,
when
move
we put
them!
Yeah, dude.
Why
I
have you
literally
texted this man to move? Like, hey, dude, can you move your clothes? If not, can I move your clothes?
I'm not even texting him. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were yours. The shared laundry. I'm popping them on the in a basket maybe.
Oh, that's
Sometimes they
true.
have
It's
a basket
the
in there.
buildings.
Yeah, it's
I
the
thought it was
building.
their units.
No,
shared
no,
one.
it's just he is assuming, which they probably are. I'm just popping them on top of the thing.
I don't know if I'm overreacting, but this crap is driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. I, 30 male, have posted about my old roommate, 30 male, here before. I took the advice some of you gave me and flat out stopped cleaning, except after myself. After a few weeks, I couldn't stand to be in any of the common areas for any amount of time because of either the smell or the mess. So I started secluding myself and my dog to my room until the end of the lease. I had to start keeping my dog in my room because he either fed him a pizza with peppers, onions, garlic, spinach, and lots of cheese, or my dog got a hold of a large amount of scraps. Enough to cause his kidneys to start failing! Thankfully, I brought him to the vet the next day because his runs were getting bad very quickly. My roommate kindly even left the mess of cooking the pizza all over the kitchen. But when I told him what the vet told me he ate, my roommate's response was, "That's crazy, I've been ordering takeout all week."
You are a liar!
But he has told all of his friends and our mutual friends that he almost unalived my dog. After 8 long months, my dog and I are finally free!
Yay!
My dog and I need to stay at a friend's for 2 weeks, but after that, my 3-bedroom townhouse for just the 2 of us will be ready for us to move into. I cannot explain how happy I am to not only give my dog free reign again, but he will have free reign over 2 whole floors, with no one throwing a tantrum over some of the dumbest things. Like not knowing how to split the rent in half with one person paying $50 more, a difference of $25 each because math is hard. He made 3 holes in the wall and left for a week because I was trying to explain how he was doing the math wrong, even with a calculator. To everyone still in my old position, stop trying. Let them live in filth. Just clean your stuff and your room. Nothing more, nothing less.
The thing is, I can't do that, though. I have a friend who also was in a situation like this where her roommates were disgusting. Disgusting. And she, stopped cleaning their stuff and would just put literally all of her food. She got like a refrigerator stand, put everything in her room, her dishes and stuff in her room.
I'm assuming he just means until your lease is up and you move out.
Oh no, absolutely. I physically cannot live like this.
When people come over, it's obvious why the apartment is a mess when one roommate is clean and the other's a disaster. Most importantly, move out! I currently sleep on a leather love seat with my dog, by the way, because he must sleep with me. And honestly, it's worth it to never have to deal with that immature, dumb, inconsiderate, hypocritical, pathological liar anymore. To think we were friends for 16 years, it's just too bad that he's still the same scared 14-year-old kid I used to stick up for when he was constantly getting bullied in school. P.S. I know you saw my post, and I know you see this one. F you! I have done nothing but try to help you literally more than half of your life. I was your best friend because I told you what you needed to hear, not what you wanted to hear. You told me that. Well, this is all I have to say to you now. You will never go anywhere in life. You constantly find excuses as to why something is not your fault, even when it doesn't make sense. Like maintenance going around and unlocking apartments for no reason or notice. You totally didn't just leave the door unlocked like you always do. And by the way, you guys have unlocked full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime.
You've unlocked it.
You've unlocked it. You've reached the checkpoint. They're all there now.
Yeah. They weren't there before.
But they're there now.
But they're all there now.
All of them. You need to grow up. Even you know it. That's why you quit, 3 jobs? Because your bosses told you the same thing? You have terrible work ethic. That's why you didn't get promoted, and I did. Even though I refused it 4 times so that you could be considered. I even told you what you needed to do to get promoted. But you didn't listen to me. And what happened? I got told there was no chance you were getting it, and I was the only smart option. Look at me. I was promised 2 more times after that in less than a year. You quit and are now working at a temp agency with no chance of growth. Because what? Your feelings got hurt that you aren't good enough? Newsflash, idiot. No one is just born good enough for what they want to do. They work to get better until they are good enough. Hence why I went to college and got my degree, because I wasn't good enough for the life that I wanted, but I became more than good enough. Maybe one day you'll stop digging this hole you're digging yourself into, but by that time it'll be too late. You're 30. It's not goofy, it's just sad. That is the end of that story. And OP, you popped off at the end there. I'm not going to comment on any of that. I think that we just missed a lot of context.
I think so. Yeah. But,
glad you're out, though.
I'm so glad you're out. And your dog.
My neighbor tore up our garden, so I called the cops on her.
Oh, pushing daisies in another way.
I have a neighbor. Let's call her Sally. I have lived beside Sally for nearly 15 years. She is probably about 35, single, and lives at home with her 2 elderly parents. By the way, this comes from Shaman1, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Vincent.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give some good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We would just tell you what we would do in this situation, so tell us what you would do in the comments. As OP says, Sally and I had a decent enough relationship over the years where we would often casually chat if I saw her outside of our houses. Sally would do all of her yard work for her parents, and in the last year, cut our front yard for us multiple times. Nice. Seems like a good thing going on. Our lawnmower broke for about a week, and she offered to cut our grass for us while we waited for it to get fixed. We obviously appreciated this kind gesture, although we never asked her to do this. After our lawnmower was fixed, she continued to cut our grass. My father and I both tried to tell her multiple times that she didn't really have to do this for us, and she had cut down some of our perennials a couple of times, but we knew she meant well. and we didn't bring this up with her. A little more backstory on the whole family. Sally's mother is a kind, quiet lady who would bake us cookies and sweets, and my sister would do the same for them. Their dad was a bit nosy and annoying and has a reputation around the neighborhood for visiting people who are doing landscaping work and standing over the landscapers for multiple hours to nitpick everything they do and criticize the homeowners. But we still had a decent enough relationship where I would help him out sometimes with moving stuff around his garage because he's old and retired, and with shoveling the driveway. We would also let them park their old boat over our property line free of charge. About a year ago in November 2024, Sally was chatting my ear off as she usually did. I didn't mention this before, but Sally was a bit socially weird. She would often chat with me for nearly an hour about our yard because she usually saw me working out front cutting the grass or gardening, and that was our commonality. I do yard work because I like having some decent curb appeal, but don't really care for gardening and landscaping all that much. Making these conversations slightly excruciating, Sally started telling me that I should consider changing our garden bed from mulch to gravel, as she said that the mulch was attracting raccoons and squirrels. Not sure how mulch would do this, but that was her reasoning. She insisted on helping me do it, and just to exit the conversation, I casually said something along the lines of, yeah, maybe I'll consider it. I thought
Also,
this...
like, gravel is not great for planting stuff.
Yeah, at all.
I grew up on a farm. I know about dirt.
And Vincent would know. He's a farmer.
I'm a farm boy.
I thought this was the end of the story, but the next day I found a letter taped to our door. Although I know she meant well, I found this letter to be quite strange, and fully just ignored it. Yes, I know I should have been kind and at least replied, but I didn't. I didn't really talk to Sally for the next year or so. Oh wow. What did that note say?
Yeah.
Wait.
I'm so interested. There's an image.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, quick TLDR of
Yes.
the letter. Fun talking to you Sunday about your plans to fix the front yard window to avoid raccoons causing damage. I was able to get more information from the Home Depot Garden Center, following steps or materials you need. Blah, 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 blah. It's a breakdown of stuff. It's explaining to remove mulch, replace with soil. It's talking about control stuff. It's talking about edging and keeping everything in place. Decorative landscaping stones. Total cost for materials. Also, the time of year before snow comes is best. I would like to help you do the front yard window area. If you get the materials this week, I am available. Insert availability. P.S. Years ago, when your front yard landscaping was done, the crew forgot their lawn roller, and it's been on the side of your house for years. It's rusted. If you put it at the curb, those who collect scrap metal will take it away within a few days. I abbreviated a lot of that. It's a full page.
Okay, so this person might have, like, they might obsess over things.
Yeah. So I didn't really talk to Sally for the next year or so, other than a casual hello and goodbye. She honestly made me slightly uncomfortable, so it was easier to just avoid her. She had left another letter on her door around Christmas with her favorite cookies recipe after my sister baked them some cookies, which my sister also did not reply to. Again, I know this probably wasn't the nicest move, but we both were a little weirded out by the letters. Fast forward to September. Over the weekend, my dad had just planted some new plants in our front garden that his friend had hand grown for him. Cute. He had been watering them every day and slowly nurturing them. We were shocked to find that the mulch in our garden had been replaced with gravel and my dad's new plants had been ripped out. My sister called me about it while I was at work, and I instantly knew what had happened. My dad was obviously PO'd and was cursing outside. At the same time, my neighbor happened to be on her way to our front door to tape another letter. There's another image.
There is,
way.
in fact, a ton of them.
Oh my gosh.
Same thing, full page.
What? That's crazy. My dad is a kind, relatively calm guy, but he was obviously quite upset with the neighbor. Rather than apologizing about the plants or the trespassing, she proceeded to tell my dad that his plants looked like they were passing away and that she couldn't even tell there were plants there because of our knee-high weeds around it. Now, our garden wasn't perfect, but it was by no means sloppy or covered in weeds. She then proceeded to tell us that we shouldn't be parking the car on the end of our driveway because it interferes with snow plows, and also told him that we need to rake our leaves more so that they don't cover the storm drain at the end of our driveway. This was not true, as the storm drain is at the end of our driveway and has never once been covered or started pulling up significantly. I verified this with my other neighbor and the neighbor on the other side of Sally. My dad was dumbfounded. He just asked her not to do anything on our lawn without asking his permission and left it at that. That night, she went ahead and planted 2 new plants in our front garden and left us another letter at the door. No.
Okay, at this point, yeah,
Now it's
she
getting
like
weird.
overstepping her bounds.
Yeah.
You might need to start getting like, okay, you need to get off our property.
Yeah.
And if you like get like a doorbell with one of the cameras or something, be like, okay, you can't be here or we'll have to take action.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it's getting a little over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a quick TLDR for this letter, basically just her being really passive aggressive, saying like, I was really surprised by your reaction, especially since last summer when your lawnmower was broken, I mowed your lawn 18 times. No other neighbor would do that, but I did that to help. Also, blank didn't rake the leaves, and I raked your front lawn several times. It goes on and on and on and on. I spent 37 hours cleaning the snow manually. Next year, I'll be using a snowblower. And basically goes on and on. Unfortunately, after speaking with you, I wish I'd never spent any time, energy, or effort helping you last summer or this summer, and I will not be in the future. It's a whole letter of that.
Oof. This is a manipulator. If someone does something nice for you, then like keeps track and then tries to use it against you later on, that's not an act of kindness.
Yeah. For a bit of context about this one, when she was cutting our lawn and I was trying to tell her she didn't have to do that, I mentioned that I owe her one and would help her shovel her snow with our snowblower. I did end up doing the portion of sidewalk in front of her house and sometimes the tail end of their driveway, but they always had cars parked in the way, and I also didn't really want to knock on the door and get her to move the cars, as this was after she started posting the weird letters at our door. In hindsight, I shouldn't have offered this in the first place, so I'm in the wrong for that. We experienced snowfall early here this year, and as a result, many of the leaves fell in conjunction with the first snowfall. We didn't rake the leaves while there was snow on the ground, and we were just going to wait until the snow melted before we raked. Snow fully melted by Thursday afternoon this past week. On Friday, as I was about to get picked up by a friend of mine, I noticed the neighbor raking our leaves. I came outside to her yelling at my friend about how we are lazy and are clogging up the storm drain. Again, not true. And even if it was, it would affect our family the most, as the storm drain is at the end of our driveway. Apparently, my friend had run over the pile of leaves she had raked on the road, which is what started the whole verbal altercation. I had previously told my friend about Sally, so he kind of knew what I was dealing with. She proceeded to tell me that all the neighbors are upset with me because I haven't raked the leaves and how they are blowing onto everyone else's property. Mind you, there were multiple homes within viewing distance at this point which had way more leaves than we do. Raking leaves also isn't a city bylaw where I live, as many people choose to leave them on the grass as fertilizer. She started to tell me about how many times she mowed our grass and how she did us a favor with the garden and how it is common courtesy to rake the leaves. Now, I have no issue with raking the leaves and agree that you probably should do it if you have a tree or two on the lawn. But to expect someone to do it right away on the first day the snow thaws, that's a little much. She also didn't seem to find anything wrong with the fact that she tore our entire garden up, made it look significantly worse, and destroyed my dad's new plants. After a bit of bickering, I was telling her that nobody was asking for any of this. My friend was telling her that it was strange for her to be doing this on the first day where it was possible. She was arguing that she did us a huge favor. She then told us that she didn't want to speak with us. Me and my boy were both like, all right, and we left her to rake the leaves. This morning, I found yet another letter at our door. No!
Oh,
She did exactly what I
this
said.
your neighbor has too much time on their hands.
Yeah,
They
to be
need-
like, I need to start this feud about our lawns.
They need a hobby which isn't gardening.
Yes.
They need a hobby that keeps them in the house. They need to
That's
get into
it.
like puzzles or model trains.
Model trains.
Keeps them in the basement.
For some reason, this one blew my fuse. It was the lack of any sort of accountability and the self-victimizing that got me. I called our local non-emergency line and explained the situation. I asked if this was even worth pursuing, and the lady on the phone assured me that it was. A cop came to our door and asked for me to explain the situation before she went and spoke to them. I explained this whole story and showed her all of the letters. She also reiterated that this was absolutely inappropriate of my neighbor and went and spoke to her. She ended up leaving right after speaking to Sally, so I didn't get a chance to hear what Sally was arguing her side of the story. Anyways, I truly hope that I don't hear from Sally again and she stops taking liberty over our lawn. There's an update.
Yeah, she's trespassing.
Yeah.
Legally, yeah.
Yeah, like that's like you can't do that. That's just how it is.
And the letters might even constitute as, it sounds like stalking.
She's not respecting boundaries and
Yeah.
just very much is trying to like take over their yard, which is just weird in general. I don't really understand the reason. That's just more work for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the update. Realizing that I probably should have included some details about our lawn, as the letters might lead you to believe that it is terrible. I'd like to think that our lawn is actually quite well maintained. In the summer, I try to mow it every week, or 2 weeks at most. I water it, pull out weeds every so often, fertilize it, and edge it up annually. By the way, we can fertilize your brain with full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. It's another relevant update. I
Yeah.
think we've said everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do it. If you were to see my lawn, you would probably think it's quite decent. I won't say award-winning, but definitely nice. With green grass and some perennials.
Perennial.
Shoveling, we do within 24 hours of snowfall every time. Raking, we don't typically do more than once or twice a year. We try to mulch the leaves by mowing over them a few times through the fall, as it is good for the grass. There are no bylaws in my city that state that you must pick up leaves. Update 2, here's the picture of the garden. Oh, the day she redid it. Oh. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of what it looked like before, but there was red mulch where the gravel is, and that dirt patch definitely wasn't there. My dad's 2 plants were on either side of the perennial. Well, that's it for this story.
My partner couldn't stop lying.
Why you always lying?
Me, 36 female, have been with my partner, 34 male, for almost a decade. He's always had a problem with lying. That is a terrible start. You should break up with
he
him.
always had a problem with lying.
Yeah. I came in with such a healthy heart and mindset when I met him that I automatically gave him love and trust. He, on the other hand, was always skeptical of what I was doing and the intent behind it, probably because he's always lying and that's like what he does for himself.
That's his MO.
My ego was so low that I didn't care what I needed to do to make him feel his best, and I personally saw it as my duty as a good partner to make him feel secure with me. By the way, this comes from Tap Advance 4422, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sam.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments below. So, OP says, I didn't know his past, and if someone had hurt him before, I wanted him to know that he was my priority and that I would do everything to make him feel safe. Anywhere I was, no matter how busy, I always picked up his calls. Many times I would even stay on a call for several minutes, putting everyone else on hold. I never declined his calls or told him I'm busy, I'll talk later. He liked photos, so I constantly took pictures of everything and showed him, which I gladly shared.
I worry that this is maybe you have a person who is a liar and avoidant, and then OP who's maybe a little bit
Anxiously
too
attached?
Anxiously attached.
Yeah, I think so.
It's never a good combo.
Never a good combo. Sometimes he accused me of lying or sounding sketchy, even though I had never given him a reason not to give me the benefit of the doubt.
Projection.
Still, I always made sure to fix it or do whatever was needed for him to believe me. When he would give me the silent treatment and be cold, I'd cater to him even more, since if I constantly asked him what was wrong, he still wouldn't say. Instead, he'd get more upset, and I didn't want to risk losing him. Yeah, again, recipe, I feel like OP knows in retrospect that this is not a good relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does seem like that.
We made it clear when we started dating that honesty was a must, but he's constantly broken the rule while always expecting honesty and transparency from me.
Well, then this is like a breakup.
He would go from not telling me anything important to saying things like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. I've tried to be understanding and patient, but it's taken a lot on my mental health, amongst other stuff he does. I've developed PTSD with nightmares daily that worsen when his family's involved, and anxiety from dealing with his lies.
I worry that you're still in this relationship.
I hope not.
I worry that this is sounding like you're still in that.
At first, when some things didn't make sense, I'd ask him once and take his answers for what they were. But then, when more things stopped making sense, I started softly asking more questions. He'd get upset and say, "What's wrong with you? You don't understand simple things? Why do you keep asking when I already told you?" I was always painted as being paranoid or overreacting. But as time went on, I started doing more detective work. And I uncovered that my instincts were right.
Yeah, trust your instincts. Trust your
your
gut.
instincts, again. Trickle lying is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like lying all the way down.
If he's just telling white lies but
How do you know the deeper
consistently,
lies? Yeah. Not good. He's lied about big things and small things, which is usually true of compulsive liars. They do small lies to cover up the big lies.
Yeah, it's a snowball of lies.
A snowball of lies, and it only gets bigger the more you push that snowball down the mountain.
Of lies.
I've tried to communicate my expectations of transparency and was eager to answer any questions on the road to regaining trust, but he always ends up getting defenses and says that I'm being controlling or harmful in my tone and words. For example, these days when he gaslights me repeatedly, I've learned to say, "Are you stupid?" from him previously saying that to me in arguments.
See, when it gets to that point,
because now you're becoming the person that you don't like.
Yeah, and if it's like if you don't like when he says that, then we just leave the relationship. We don't turn it on our partner.
Recently, when his family made a last-minute visit and I had to be away, I told him not to lie about even the smallest thing. Again, that is already a sign that should break up.
If you are already having to tell him because you know that he's a liar, oh, please do not lie, even about like tiny little things. This relationship is over.
Asking the liar not to lie about lying is like asking a
fish
dog
not to swim,
not to bark.
Yeah.
Asking a little rat chihuahua dog not to bark.
Yeah.
Specifically.
They bark
all the time.
All the time.
It's in their nature.
Mm-hmm.
He reassured me and said he'd be so transparent that it would feel like I was right there with him. Well, not too long after, he lied about something as small as eating a piece of bread and then got defensive when I confronted him. He added a few more micro lies as we argued about the initial one he hit me with. I said, "I'm sorry and I won't lie again. What more do you want me to say? You won't drop it. I'm tired of this BS." It's not just about the bread. It's about the fact that he can't seem to tell the truth even when it's easy. I've said a few things to him during arguments, one of which is the constant lying, knowing it's hurting your partner isn't husband material, and I crave to be with a man who can be easily transparent with me because he respects me enough, honor what I'm not comfortable with. Also, just a quick reminder, if someone's a compulsive liar, they're probably a people pleaser. They're lying to appease you, right?
Yeah, because they know you won't like a certain thing, and so it's just easier for them to lie.
There's often a connection with adultery and people pleasing because, again, like you want to please everyone, and if someone asks you to do something frisky, you're like, well, I don't want to make them upset, and maybe I want to do that too. It's like it's all kind of connected.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. It's one big pyramid scheme, man. Because he respects me enough to honor what I'm not comfortable with. This, of course, includes him, but he chooses to disqualify himself all the time. I've stuck around this long to prove. Oh, this long. I think this is present day.
He's still with this person.
God. I've stuck around this long to prove I don't want any other man, despite how horrid he is morally towards me, specifically me. He treats others better.
I don't understand why you're putting yourself
the hell?
Through freaking crucifixion.
Lying is a norm with him and his family, and my experience with them has helped me pinpoint the root of this habit and the reason he uses lying to cope in his life. Still, I told him it's unacceptable in our relationship, the same way he doesn't want me to lie. But seeing me emotionally break down isn't enough for him to stop. When he said to me, "If you want to go find another guy that you crave," I was infuriated, cut him off, and said, "Okay."
OP,
and hung up.
Why are you...
I knew he was going to make it seem like I wanted another guy and not focus on the honesty part, as if I don't deserve someone who is honest with me. By the way, I want to be honest with you and make sure that you look at our podcast, wherever you get that podcast, whether it be iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Just search OK Storytimes for full episodes of stories just like this. But yeah, you should go check out the podcast if you haven't already. But we do have a little bit more of this story.
You should check out of this relationship.
Check out of this relationship.
Because it's bad, and you know it's bad.
Yeah.
If someone's consistently lying, what is the reason of... I just don't... is there any redeeming quality here about him, about this man that has lied for the whole term of your relationship?
I don't think so. But
don't
OP
think
asks,
so.
am I the a-hole for getting angry about being lied to about a piece of bread and other small things? I did ask him not to lie while I was away, even about the smallest thing, because historically when he lies about small things, there's always a huge thing behind it. To which he promised not to, and even said he'd be so transparent that it would feel like I was there anyway. So it feels like betrayal. Shouldn't that request be enough to respect? Yes. Yeah, I broke up with someone from a small lie because she lied about big things,
Yeah,
and I have no regrets. So
exactly.
I want to know if I'm being unreasonable.
Yes, you are.
He seems to not understand my
being
frustration.
unreasonable.
Are you guys able to understand it, or am I wrong?
You're being unreasonable because you're still in this relationship.
Yeah, you should leave.
You're not
It is
listening
not
to
unreasonable
reason.
to think this. I think, yes, it's like, oh, it's just a small thing. I should let it go. Like, I understand that logic, but again, it's not a small thing. This is a consistent big thing that has encompassed the whole relationship. Breaking up because someone disrespects a boundary that you put up because of big things in the past with a small thing is, I think,
The healthiest thing.
the
for you to
healthiest
do.
thing. Yeah.
And
I
if
think
you put up,
I think I've had relationships in the past where like partner has been doing something that like hasn't been okay, and I put up a boundary, and then there's been a small transgression of that. I actually for me, it didn't feel bad breaking up with those partners because it symbolized a disrespect of the
Yeah.
boundary in general and of like the relationship context.
I agree. I think if you put up a boundary, and in this case, he consistently disrespects it, then he's not going to ever respect you because you've shown that it doesn't even matter when you put up boundaries because you're not going to actually follow through.
Lori Hensler has a bar in the chat right now and says you cannot have an authentic relationship when you aren't dealing with the truth.
True.
Yep.
And that's true.
That
That's
is
the truth
true.
right there.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I think there's a little bit left.
That's it. Truthfully, that's the end of that story.
That's the end of that story. And if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you, and see you tomorrow.
Except